All right, waiting for Dr. Verde and Ms. Lopez to just to make sure that they're here.
Ms. Lopez is here.
Okay. All right, I see Dr. Verde and Ms. Maddox. There she is. Okay, looks like we are good to go. The Board of Education reconvened in open session at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Dr. Locke present.
I'm sorry,
Present.
present.
All right, we have Dr. Locke present. Mr. Holguin, you're present? Yes?
Present, Jesus Holguin,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
CJ Johnson present.
Okay. Ms. Smith? Ms. Smith present?
I already, all right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure we heard you because there's some confusion. Okay, so Ms. Smith's present, Daryl Peden present.
Martin Rex Kedziora present.
Robert Verde present.
Susanna Lopez present.
Maribel Maddox present.
Okay, we'll move on to D2, report out of closed session. Board of Education met in closed session to discuss public employee employment, appointment, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, non-reelects, conference with labor negotiator, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, and settlement of claims. A motion was made by Board Member Locke and seconded by Board Member Smith to appoint John Black as the Director 3 of College and Career Ready, and it was approved by a vote of 5-0. A motion was made by Vice President Johnson and seconded by Board Member Smith to appoint Dana Dunhams as principal of Mountain View Middle School and was approved by a vote of 5-0. A motion was made by Dr. Locke, Board Member Locke, and seconded by Vice President Johnson to appoint Sean Robertson as interim principal of Hidden Springs Elementary School, and the vote was approved by 5-0. In addition, a motion was made by Vice President Johnson and seconded by Board Member Locke to approve settlement claims number 19-20-16 by the following vote, 5-0. And Dr. Kedziora, I believe we have Mr. Black, Ms. Dunhams, and Robertson, yes, here. Were they going to say a few words before we move forward?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Peden. Dr. Verde, you're going to introduce each of them, right?
Yes. So first we'll hear from Mr. John Black, who, as you said, Mr. Peden, has now been approved as the Director 3 for College and Career Readiness. And Mr. Black has been with Moreno Valley Unified since 2011, began as a principal at Butterfield Elementary and was currently serving as principal at Mountain View Middle School, and has been a great asset to both of those sites. We're looking forward to having him at the district level. So Mr. Black, congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Verde. I wanted to thank the school board, of course, Superintendent Dr. Kedziora, and the entire cabinet for this opportunity. I'm truly honored to be able to get to support our community in this new role. I'm so excited to get started. I want to publicly thank my 8th grade history teacher, Mrs. Snow, without whom I wouldn't be in this position today. Mrs. Snow, thank you for caring about a nerdy class clown in your 3rd period class all those years ago. I am who I am in education because of her. And I also want to acknowledge my beautiful wife, Tina, my daughter, Catherine, and my son, Brody, who encourage and support me every day. I'm a proud graduate of Moreno Valley High School. Go Vikings. My daughter is a graduate of Valley View High School and the Middle College High School program. My son is currently an 8th grader in the district. I'm blessed to be able to help our district in new ways. Once again, thank you.
And also being approved tonight to fill Mr. Black's shoes at Mountain View Middle is the new principal of Mountain View Middle School, Ms. Dana Dunhams. Ms. Dunhams has been with us since 2016, where she was hired as an assistant administrator of instructional improvement and academic coaching at Vista Del Lago. She currently has been serving as an assistant principal at Vista Del Lago High School, and we have all the confidence in the world in Ms. Dunhams to take this next step. She's going to make a phenomenal principal for Mountain View Middle School. So congratulations, Ms. Dunhams. We'll turn it over to you.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Good evening, Mr. Peden, our amazing Board of Education, Dr. Ketziora, our esteemed cabinet members, students, parents, family, staff, Greater Moreno Valley, just community. I just want to say thank you so much. I mean, I'm beaming. I'm so excited. Thank you to the board for believing in me. Thank you so much to the cabinet, Dr. Ketziora, for trusting me with such a prestigious role as principal of Mountain View Middle School. I'd also like to thank God for guiding me into education. I started out as a civil engineering major, and I know for a fact that I would not be as fulfilled in any other profession as I am as an educator. I also have to thank my mom, my dad, who I know is smiling down on me, just exceedingly proud of all of my accomplishments. I have to also thank my sisters, my best friends for supporting me through all things. I'd also like to mention Mr. Eric Swanson, who has been the best boss ever. I have to also thank the Raven family. I have loved you for 5 years, and you have loved me right back. Everything we've accomplished in the past 5 years has been collectively and together. We really did work together to support our students, and I'm just so grateful for all the growth opportunities I had there at Vista Del Lago. I also want to say to the Mountain View community, the students, the parents, the family, I know that Mr. Black has done an exceedingly exceptional job as the leader there. I'm so excited to be handed the baton, and I cannot wait to join your community and to really serve you. I am a servant leader. So my first step though is to get to know you, because the more that I know you, the better I can serve you. And so I will be at a grab and go soon so I can start meeting everybody. I just cannot wait to get out there. And lastly, but most certainly not least, I have to bring it back to thank you, Dr. Ketziora. You hired me from San Bernardino. You trusted me. You sent me to Vista Del Lago, but you did not leave me alone. You guided me. You supported me. You encouraged me every step of the way. And I'm so grateful. I just hope that I'm able to make you all proud. I promise you and the Mountain View community that I will do my absolute best. I'll give 100% of myself at all times to make sure I'm serving you to the best of my ability. So thank you so much again. I'm so excited. And I just can't wait to get started. Thank you.
Mr. Peden?
Yes,
Mr.
please. Vice President Nelson, please go ahead.
Yes, I just want to deliver a little short message, please. Ms. Dunhams, congratulations. But I have a question. Where are you? Oh, I don't see you. You can hear me. Who are you going to have to check my my pass? Now that you won't be there?
Well, Miss Beeson will still be there, so she will check you. And I'm still a Raven fan. I will be there at all the games, so I will check you as well.
All right, good. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Dr. Verde.
Lastly, Mr. Peden, we want to thank Mr. Sean Roberson. Mr. Roberson has joined us tonight. He's stepping into the world of elementary school. He's serving as the interim at Hidden Springs Elementary to support the staff there for the time being. Mr. Roberson has been with the district since 2004. He's been a teacher and now an administrator with us at Canyon Springs, and kind of gets to have an opportunity to work at another level, kind of see some things at the elementary, support that site, which is very important. And also, I think really important for Mr. Roberson, just getting that experience and really getting to know a different area of our district. And again, Mr. Roberson is a wonderful leader with our district, and I think it's a great opportunity for him.
All right. Hey, good evening, everyone. I thank you, Dr. Verde, for the kind words, and I do want to also say thank you to Dr. Ketziora and his cabinet for this opportunity. Thank you, Board of Education, as well. I appreciate this opportunity to, like Dr. Verde said, experience a different world in the district. This is my first time working in elementary. I've already gotten to know some of the staff there, seen some of the students and parents as they drive through at the grab and go lunch. And because Hidden Springs is a feeder school to Canyon Springs, I see a lot of familiar faces as well. So it's great to be in that community and support that community at different levels. So I'm really looking forward to these next month and a half, and continuing to support that community. And again, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. I also want to say thank you to my family, my wife and my 2 kids, and my family at Canyon Springs, because I am going to be supporting both school sites. I know they are all making adjustments as well. And so I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you to them as well. So again, thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to continuing to serve the students and families in our district.
Thank you, Ms. Robertson. Mr. Robertson, Dr. Verde, is there any, that sums it up?
That sums it up, Mr. Peden. Thank you.
Okay, absolutely. I would just like to say, you know, we're excited about Moreno Valley Unified School District's future. And we're excited about your appointment and how you're going to be taking on service as that role for our community. And it means so much to us. So thank you so much for being willing to step into this role. At this time, before we go, I'd like to open the doors open to the board if they had any comments, and also Dr. Kidziora, of course.
I just want to say thank you. And as I said earlier, you know, these are 3 excellent employees, you know, and they've made us proud. Dr. Kidziora, thank you. I mean, you are masterful at recognizing talent within our district and using them and promoting them. So again, thank you. And, you know, have fun. You'll do great.
I'd just like to say congratulations and add my thanks to Dr. Locke. You know, I've met each of you in your old capacities and look forward to moving forward with you into the future and into new responsibilities. So thank you.
And I just want to echo the words. Congratulations to the 3 of you. And I have had the opportunity to work and have conversations with the 3 of you. And I just have to say it's excellent choice. And I know how welcoming you are in your different sites, and that will continue, I'm sure, positive. And that is something that parents are looking for, a place where they are welcome, where they feel welcome, and especially the students there are listened to and taken care of. So congratulations to the 3 of you, good luck, and we're here to support you.
Am I next?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Again, congratulations, all 3. I've known all 3 of you guys for a few years now, and I have nothing but love and admiration for all 3 of you. I just love it when we have people in the district who mature to a point where we start selecting them for greater responsibility. And all 3 of you guys have done a wonderful job in the past, and now it's time for you to move on and do something else to continue to make us, this district, even greater than we are. I'd like to also thank Dr. Kidziora as well. He has a knack for putting people in the right spots and mentoring them to a point. So, you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention his talents and also thank him for the wonderful job that he's done with the folks that we currently have and those folks that we just promoted. If you need me, let me know. But that doesn't go for Miss Dunham's, because she'll find somebody else to check my ID card, I'm sure, at that middle at her new school. Okay, guys, thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Johnson. Dr. Kidziora.
Mr. Payton, I just want to thank the board for your support, and I want to thank the cabinet for their support, but I want to thank you 3 for rising to the challenge and, you know, taking this step, because I just am so proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Kidziora, for those heartfelt words. It's extremely important, and you know, just piggyback off Dr. Locke's comments regarding your leadership and how important it is for your guidance here in the district to make sure people that are great servants are in positions to lead our district. So thank you so much for that. All right, with that, we can move on. Thank you so much, you all, for taking on those roles. It's been great having you here today. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and move forward. We have to E1, Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Zayana Mexico, 5th grade student from Butterfield Elementary School.
Good evening. My name is Ayana Mexico, and I'm a 5th grade student from Butterfield Elementary School. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you so much. We are now moving on to E2. I just want to make sure everybody's back. Am I missing anybody? We're here. Okay. E2, amendment of dates for future board meetings. Upon further review, the Board of Education meeting dates, it is deemed necessary to adjust the schedule for March 2021 to add a special meeting of the Board of Education on March 16th, 2021. Before I entertain a motion, board members, are there any questions, comments, or concerns regarding this item? Okay, seeing none, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended board meetings date for 2021 as presented. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve as presented.
Moved by Dr. Locke. Second?
Second.
And by Vice President Johnston. Roll call, please.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Dr. Locke,
Aye.
Mr. Holguin,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Peden.
Aye. Vote carries. Okay, now we're moving to E3, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Kid-Diora, you would assist us with this item, please?
Thank you, Mr. Peden. And I just want y'all to know that was really neat what had just happened, because we're, as a district, I just feel we're going to, you know, really, it's going to change some of the things we do, and I just appreciate it. Thank you. In this PowerPoint, I want you to see this one slide. It has a lot on it, but I decided instead of several slides, I'd put this all on one page. And so the first row is the 11 commitments, and then our vision and mission statement, which we just completed, and our 6 competencies for Portrait of a Graduate, and then the goals and the outcomes, the 5 goals and the outcomes for each of those goals. So when you see the slides that I show tonight, at the bottom of every slide is a goal, and the goal is related to one of the outcomes. So I want you to know there is a method to this, and I'll talk more about some of those later, but I just wanted you to see it's all on one page instead of you know, several slides. So in our 11 commitments, in this first one, on this next slide, this is a student at March Mountain High School. And, you know, students are getting accepted to colleges and universities. And we're very proud of Clarissa Gomez, who's a student at March Mountain who got accepted to the University of Nevada. And I wanted you to meet her. So could you play the video of her, please?
Does it tell you that it's recording?
Yep, it's recording now. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, well, again, Clarissa, we are so excited and proud that you have accomplished being accepted to a university, the University of Las Vegas. We ended up getting a shirt. I don't know if you could see. There it is. The shirt. Actually, you know what? Let me take off my virtual background so you can see it a lot better. There you go. You got a UNLV shirt. You just gotta let me know what size shirt do you wear? Do you know?
It can either be extra small or small.
Extra small or small. Okay, so this is a medium, but I'm gonna get you another one. You know, so you can come pick it up. I'll let you know when it's here, so you can come pick it up. Again, we're so very proud of you and your accomplishments. I asked Miss Maida about FAFSA. She said you already filled it out, so that's great. We're just so very proud of you, and I know the superintendent is proud of you. and he's going to be mentioning it tomorrow night in the board meeting. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting a positive light on March and everything that you did here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And the only thing we're waiting for, Mr. Quintero, is her financial aid award packet that they'll be giving her. So once she gets that in, and it does take them a couple, maybe 1 or 2 weeks after she gets that acceptance letter, we'll make sure to log into her portal and, you know, go through her financial aid packet to see what they're going to offer her, you know, in loans and what they're going to give her.
Great. That sounds fantastic. Clarita, do you want to say anything about, you know, anything?
I'm just excited. Like, I'm in shock still. Like, I didn't think I was going to do it, but I ended up doing it, even though it was hard.
Are you?
Yeah, we're very proud of you, and I know you know you did all of the work, and we're just so very proud of you and excited for your next chapter. Mm-hmm. So maybe in four short little years you'll be able to come back and be part of the Moreno Valley Unified School District.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time.
So, I just love that video because it's kind of like, you know, what happens. Mm-hmm. And it's not, you know, it's just them. But I just want to tell Clarissa Gomez how proud the district is of her and what she did. I mean, that's amazing. And so congratulations. But equally important is her counselor, who is at March Mountain High School on the next slide. And this is
Does it tell you that it's recorded?
This is Myra Arroyo Rodriguez, who is the counselor at March Mountain High School. And she's made a big difference at March Mountain in helping students realize their dreams and their potential. And last week was school counseling week, you know, where we recognize counselors. So I wanted to thank her for all that she's done there. And then on this next slide is a painter in our district. And we've talked about this before, but this was when some graffiti was at Mountain View Middle School. And we recognized some other people, but we didn't recognize Mike Harding, who's the painter that actually went and did the painting and got it done. And these are the people behind the scenes, but thank you, Mike, for responding to the principal and the secretary and removing graffiti whenever it's present in our district, but we want to thank you for that. So very proud of you. And then on the next slide, this is Jennifer O'Farrell, and you heard from her last board meeting. She had a public comment, but I was so moved by her public comments because she's with she's the director of Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and she wrote to share her excitement of being a district partner, empowering our youth, and it's through actions like Mrs. O'Farrell and those that like her that enhance our community. And so it's sometimes we don't hear some people what they're doing or their positive energy. And I just wanted to thank Jennifer O'Farrell for, you know, taking the time to write what she wrote and how much she helps our students and our community become, you know, better places for people. So thank you. And then this is another, you know, I get notes and emails all the time, but this is Thomas Alcarez, and he's a teacher at Moreno Valley Online Academy. And this was from a parent that wrote this, and she wanted to let us know that Mr. Alcarez has been wonderful. I know he has a lot on his plate, and adding her child as an ISP student was not something he had to do. She appreciates Mr. Alcarez for taking on the challenge. It really helped Matthias's stress level. He still has a lot of assignments to do each day, but it's not as rigorous as the MVUSD distance learning he was in the first semester. We haven't had any more days of total frustration, and I'm grateful to you and Mr. Alcarez. Mr. Alcarez is taking time to listen to Matthias, help him with the classes, answer any questions he has, and show him how to do the work. It really worked out well for us. Mr. Alcarez's positive attitude and his calm demeanor are really a big plus. Matthias is very comfortable with him, and I see a big change in him. I know that has a lot to do with the way Mr. Alcarez is towards him. Mr. Alcarez has been such a godsend to us, and I appreciate you making the ISP happen for Matthias. And he's really an awesome teacher. What a great asset you have in him. I love this. We nominate Mr. Alcaraz for any awards programs you have at MVOA or at MVUSD. He deserves that recognition and so much more. So tonight, we are using our 11 commitments that he listens to understand. And that's one of the biggest problems with the communication, is that we listen to give a response, practice empathy, and share in the feelings of your students, your parents, and your staff. So thank you, Mr. Alcaraz, for shining brightly with excellence on purpose. And thank you to this wonderful parent who recognized your contributions to your students. Congratulations. And then on this next slide, I wanted you to see each of our high schools, they excel in many areas. This is Canyon Springs High School, who received the Gold Division Team Air Force Junior ROTC, but they, I'm trying to say so much. I'm excited, but I guess I don't have to rush so much, you know, but I feel like I do sometimes. But y'all, they were second in the state and 8th in the nation. These are kids that go to a Cyber Patriot program at Canyon Springs High School. Donna Woods is Cyber Patriot instructor and Tamara Kerr is the principal, but it's the Air Force Junior ROTC All-Service Gold Division team. And the students, Michael Felipe Lopez is the captain and co-president, Lateral Edwards, Tyler Jones, Carlos Nunez. And then the Open Gold Division team is Israel Perez, who's the captain and co-president, Justin Duro, the vice president, Moises Belche, Deja Brown, Grisette Carrillo, and Kevin Usanga. Canyon Springs Cyber Patriot team started the national competition in round 1 on November the 13th, competing among 2,587 teams across the nation. Round 2 commenced on December 11th, and the combination of scores in both rounds determined who would advance to the national semifinals for round 3 on January 22nd. So that was the final round, and so they placed 2nd in the state, 8th in the nation. We couldn't be more proud of them, and thank you, Donna Woods and Mrs. Kerr, for the support of that program. This next slide talks about the same Cyber Patriot program, and this is the Inland Empire Regional California Mayor's Cyber Cup, which the board is invited to. And this is going to be on Saturday, March 13th from 9 a.m. to noon. There's an award ceremony to follow at 1 p.m. And this is 400 student competitors representing middle schools, high schools, and college teams throughout the Inland Empire. And so we're very proud to be part of that. Actually, you know, Donna Woods is the leader in that. And we're proud that we have this kind of influence and support in our community, but we're very proud of the students and their families for how they support your children and how well your children do in these competitions. So congratulations. And then Valley View High School, they just received an award from the college board. And this is the advanced placement, you know, program that we have in our district. Valley View High School for earning the College Board's Advanced Placement Computer Science Award for female diversity for expanding young women's access to AP Computer Science. Sometimes in districts, they walk into classes and they don't see 42% of the students are females in her class, in Jeannie Ruo's classes at Valley View High School. And I'm certain that Jeannie Ruo has something to do with this. But Valley View High School is one of only 232 schools in the nation to be recognized for achieving this important result for AP Computer Science. And I want to thank Mrs. Johnson for her support, but I want to thank the students who enroll in these classes, these advanced placement classes, and rise to the challenge of them and help their careers and their college experience. And, you know, we're just very proud of you. Congratulations. And then I'm very proud, we just received another grant, and we're always trying to get grants. I want to thank Dr. Sheffield, who's the Director of Student Services, and her team, because they received a grant for tobacco prevention. And this is valued at
I think we lost Dr. Idziora.
$558,000. So that's exciting. And the goal.
It's the delay.
Oh, it's
Because
delayed.
there was a delay. Sorry about that. You cut off. If you can start over at the
Sure.
goal.
My internet connection was unstable, but is it better now? Okay. I'll try to pay attention to that screen too. So, yeah, we're very excited. This is the Department of Justice Tobacco Grant. It's 36 months beginning spring of 2021 through June of 2024. Thank you to Dr. Sheffield, the Director of Student Services, and her team for pursuing this. Along with Daryl Scott, they worked collaboratively. Goal 1 was to hire 2 campus security officers to train students in grades 6 through 12 on the dangers of tobacco use and vaping, and inform parents of tobacco use and targeted messages. This is meant to educate and support and coach students. The goal 2 was to promote public anti-tobacco education, to create an anti-tobacco slogan and branding, promote anti-tobacco campaigns, and strengthen relationships between school, community, and law enforcement. They work together so that students make the best choices. And so we're very excited to see what's going to happen in this, but this is the Department of Justice grant, and they're very difficult to obtain, so I was really proud that that happened. Now, on this next slide, I want you to see that Moreno Valley Unified School District received a $10,000 donation from the Hillwood Corporation. They are building a property in our district that is at the freeway between Moreno Beach and Redlands Boulevard. And this is called the Moreno Valley Trade Center. It's on the next slide, or is my, okay, it's fine. Can y'all see, are we on the right slide, Daryl, Peden?
Yes,
okay.
You're on this rec side, yes.
All right, thank you. So I want you to know we had a meeting with them. Susanna Lopez was with me, and they asked me what some needs were in the district. I told them about our seniors this year, that they're you need to be adopted by people. But we talked about a lot of things, our wellness center. We talked about the programs, the new performing arts center, and they want to be partners with us in our district. So this is just what they did the other day, and they're looking forward to doing more, but I just want to thank them. And then this is another donation that we received, and this is through Nutrition Services. It's Feeding America with KABC TV is partnering with Feeding America with us to donate 500 books as part of the Disney's Magic of Storytelling book campaign. And this will be through March 31st, and these books will be delivered to grab and go sites. And Anna E. Velasco and Carla Leiter are jointly developing this so that those books are distributed. And then I wanted you to see that Moreno Valley High School earned the Bronze of Business Academy competition. They have a business academy there. It's one of their pathways. And they're proud, LaToisha Brown is proud to announce the Bronze Award that students Jonathan Maldonado and Sadie Aguirre earned on their very first competition. Those two high school seniors produced a 30 to 60 second radio commercial that effectively promoted their product, and they earned a Bronze Award. They wrote the script, they produced and submitted the commercial on their own, and additionally, both students were early graduates. We wish both of them the very best. And Nicole Valentine is the Business Academy teacher at Moreno Valley High School, and the category was radio commercial. And this was the first competition for both students, and 40 schools competed. So very proud of those students. Congratulations. And then many of you got to join us for the recognition of our History Day program. Carol Boyne-Held and Dr. Arce oversee that from elementary and secondary education. And they're supported by Susan Young, who's a PD specialist at Vista Heights, and Autumn Earl Rodriguez, who's a teacher at Vista Heights Middle School. And we want to thank all the students who participated in this. In the pandemic, I was so impressed with the number of projects. And so we had 95 projects, 159 students from 12 of our schools. It's amazing. 39 projects are gold winners will be represented at County History Day at a ceremony on March 12th at 4 p.m. So we'll be looking to see, we usually have a student or two go on to national, or the state, then they go on to national. So I'm way ahead of myself there. But these are all the students on these slides, and And I want to thank their families who supported them, and all the principals and the teachers who worked with students to develop these projects. And I hope next year that if you didn't do one this year, that you'll ask your teacher or your principal to help you do one, because they really are a project that helps you learn and build your competencies and our portrait of a graduate. And then these two students won the spelling bee. Sweta and Sophie Gonzalez and Sweta Jasno. And Sweta has won it the last 3 years, and Sophie, she's second place at Sunnymead Middle School, and Sweta goes to Palm Middle School. There were 34 participants, 9 elementary sites, 5 middle schools, and I just want to say how proud these two students, their families were. I took the awards personally to their home, and they were just so excited, and I was so excited, and I want to thank them and congratulate them. And then Greg Solomon, who's our director of, or coordinator of visual and performing arts, and works with Dr. Buster, who's the director of professional development and digital learning. They are putting the word out there about amplifying the arts in Moreno Valley. And because we were a 2020 Golden Bell Award winner, and we want to thank him for adding to the Riverside County Office of Education what they do there, because he's informing them of all the things that are happening here. And they're wonderful opportunities for students. So thank you. And then on the next slide, I wanted you to see this because this is social emotional learning. And this is from Document Today. And students were asked, what is something you used to take for granted, but now you appreciate? And 104 students' answers are shown, with the size of the word representing how many times it was the answer. So like sleep, my phone, my health, friends, in-person school, time, family, life, a home to live in, a house, food. And I just wanted you to see that because when I looked at it, I don't know, I was very touched by what the students' responses were, and how it's a reminder of the many things that we don't always know if people have or don't have. And then Justin Remington is the athletic director at Canyon Springs High School. And not only am I proud of him as an athletic director, but I want to congratulate him as a certified athletic administrator. The National Interscholastic Administrators Association, they announced that Justin Remington at Canyon Springs High School has been recognized by the association as a certified athletic administrator. To earn that distinction, Justin has demonstrated the highest level of knowledge and expertise in the field of interscholastic athletic administration. The voluntary certification process includes a thorough evaluation of the candidate's educational background, experience, and professional contributions, as well as rigorous, comprehensive, and written examinations. He's one of an elite group of interscholastic athletic administrators nationwide to attend this level of professionalism. And I think all of you know that when you visit Canyon Springs High School and you see the level of commitment and the dedication and the communication there, it's no wonder that this was accomplished. But Mrs. Kerr is very supportive, and Justin does an outstanding job, and he's a real leader of the athletic directors. On the next slide, this is from the College Board. This is our AP program, and the College Board recognizes counselors every year who are nominated by their colleagues, and only 400 were chosen from all over the United States. And Araceli Cruz, who is at Moreno Valley High School, was honored, and she was chosen from all over the United States. The College Board during National School Counselor Week last week, and they chose her and surprised her with this nomination. And I'm so proud of these people for what they do and their contributions. Now they're chosen among their peers from across the country. And then last week, we did the Great Kindness Challenge in our district. And I just want you, it wasn't last week, it was January 25th and the 29th. But I want you to see that Vicki Chavez, who heads this up as the PBIS Climate and Culture Coordinator, the theme was Kindness Unites. And along with the California Department of Education's initiative in Education to End Hate, these schools, Armada, Box Springs, Canyon Springs High School, Chaparral Hills, Creekside, Honey Hollow, La Jolla, Landmark Middle, March Valley, March Mountain, Midland, Moreno Elementary, Mountain View Middle, Northridge, Ridgecrest, Serrano, Sugar Hill. No, I think my internet's unstable again. Is it all right? Okay. Sunnymead Middle, Sunny Meadows, Towngate, and Vista del Lago High School. We're very proud of these schools because they were certified as kindness schools by the activities that they did and certified in the database for the state. So congratulations on that. And then our Black History Month celebrations. We're very proud. Our second event for Black History Month. This is the district event, and I want everyone to know that schools are having lots of events. So the school calendars are full of events. We celebrate the phenomenal Dr. Shirley Weber, and I promise you, Dr. Weber will not disappoint. You're in for a treat to hear her speak. We also look forward to congratulating her on her recent appointment as California's first African-American Secretary of State. And this will be February 24th from 6 to 8 p.m. And we're looking forward to seeing everyone. And we felt like we saw everyone last week on Thursday from 6 to 8 when we had our drive-through celebration. I just want to thank the community for coming out and our board for supporting this event, because it was truly exciting to see, but to also have all the families stop and say hello and just get a chance to see you. We don't see you as much. So thank you for participating in that, but check your school's website and make sure you're participating in these events. They're very important. And then this is African American History Month, and Mrs. Hagera, I'm probably not saying her name right, Hagera. She's a teacher, a special day class teacher at Edgemont Elementary, where Smiley Villavicencio is the principal. And I want you to know when you know, people send me things, and I have to choose what I put on here sometimes because I ask for, I love these things. But celebrated African American History Month with her students with art. She taught her students about Alma Woodsey, an African American artist who was an unconventional figure. And her career as a painter started late, only after professional life as an art teacher. Alma Thomas devoted herself to her own art. In 1970, 8 years before her death, the artist declared, "Creative art is for all time and is therefore independent of time. It is of all ages, of every land, and if by this we mean the creative spirit in man, which produces a picture of a statue, is common to the whole civilized world, independent of age, race, and nationality. The statement may stand unchallenged." These pictures are what some of her students did, and they were the renditions of Alma Woodsey's art, beautifully done. So congratulations to the students in Mrs. Higuera's class, and to just, you know, for participating. But isn't that artwork beautiful? I mean, I know y'all are, you know, bored looking at that, but I was just very touched by that. And then I want you to know that our dual language immersion, so many things are not as, you know, because of the pandemic and different things, we have to do them different ways. So this will be done by Zoom, and this will be on our website, but these are virtual meetings for kindergarten for next year. And we have elementary schools that have, these are who have dual immersion: Armada, Butterfield, Cloverdale, Creekside, Honey Hollow, and Sunnymead Elementary School. And Lilia Villa is the director, and she's going to be at every one of these Zoom meetings to work with parents and families. And then our middle school virtual parent education meetings, where we have Badger Springs, Butterfield, Mountain View, and Sunnymead Middle School. And I want to tell parents, we have a who are dual immersion. We're forming a K-8 school, a language academy at Butterfield Elementary. And so sixth graders started this year. But if you have a 7th grader and you're in dual immersion, you have that choice also. And one of the things we tried to do, the board is very supportive of this, is to provide more options and choices for our parents, so that you can choose from one of our 41 schools with their different programs and opportunities for students. This next slide is about our STEAM Academy, and we have we have amazing programs in STEAM. And so I want to say to our community, you don't have to go anywhere else but right here at Moreno Valley to have a STEAM Academy. So in one of the patterns, we have Northridge Elementary, Palm Middle School, and Valley View High School. We have another one that's Edgemont Elementary, Sunnymead Elementary, Sunnymead Middle, and Moreno Valley High School. This is Palm Middle School's STEAM Academy Virtual Parent Information Night. And it's for 5th graders who are interested in 6th and 7th grade at Palm Middle School. And at that, they talk about advanced math, robotics, web design and development classes, Java app development, video production, cybersecurity. They have cybersecurity there too, and digital arts. They have a wonderful program, but it's Wednesday, February 17th at 5 o'clock, and they will hold others. But this is one of the first ones. So I want to thank Dr. Harris, the principal, and the staff at Palm Middle School for what they do. And then I want to remind parents, you're going to get some of this in the mail, but we have a deadline of March 12th, but we always work with you just because for planning purposes. But we have an International Baccalaureate Diploma program at Canyon Springs High School. So your child can graduate with that designation if they like. There's a middle years program at Vista Heights Middle School where they can take French, Mandarin, and Spanish. They also have an outstanding visual and performing arts program. That's a MYP program, they call it. And then we offer 6th grade now at elementary schools. So parents, if you don't want your student to quite go to middle school yet, we have locations throughout the city, Box Springs, Ramona, Ridgecrest, and Seneca, and Butterfield has the DLI program. And we really want you to know that if you would like to go to one of these schools, please fill out a transfer. We had plenty of space this year. And then I want to tell you about the Moreno Valley Online Academy. This is an online school that is designated to support students in grades transitional kindergarten through 12th grade. It is WASC accredited and it is APG certified. And so your child can go right to college from there. And it's a wonderful program. Mr. Philip Peoples is the principal. Those are just a few of our programs. And I'll be spotlighting those and sharing those with you as the month goes on. But I just want to remind you that we have choices here and we want to help you have your child where they learn best. And that's one of my personal priorities as superintendent because I just think it's so valuable. And then our attendance awards, I want you to know, look at Northridge. They have higher attendance than they did when they were in school. Isn't that amazing? 98.7. Mountain View Middle School, 96.8. And Canyon Springs High School, 95.7. So on attendance awards, we give the attendance winners in the feeder pattern. This means where you go to high school. So Canyon Springs feeder was Seneca Elementary, who had an ADA of 94.6%. Moreno Valley High School's feeder, Towngate, 95.8%. Valley View, 96.2%, which is Cloverdale Elementary. And Vista de Lagos was Ridgecrest with 96.5%. We want every school to have 95 or above. Of course, we want every school, every student to be there every day. But I just want you to know that Moreno Valley Unified School District has made significant gains in student attendance, specifically chronic absenteeism, the reduction of it. It has decreased about 1% since January 4th to 15.2%. Amanda Denniston and Dr. Sheffield attribute this growth, growth to training in our district and focus on accurate and efficient coding for both engagement and attendance. Thereby, they are spending time with our clerical staff and administrators, as well as presenting at staff meetings. As a district, the attendance and engagement data needs to be accurate to best support the students and their families and make sure we're giving students the right instruction and the right support. So I want to thank CWA for what they're doing and how they're making a difference with that. On the next slide is some middle schools that have improved. Vista Heights, Mountain View, and Landmark, it was Vista Heights. They're 96.6. And Badger Springs, Palm, and Sunnymead, it's Palm Middle School with 94.4. And then for alternative schools, it's March Mountain High School, their ADA of 81.6%. And then the most improved high school is Moreno Valley High School with ADA of 93.7%. They had an increase in their ADA and a decrease in their chronic absenteeism. So we're proud of that. We continue to be very proud of our on the next slide is grab and go lunches. And there's more programs coming to our district for grab and go. And I want to thank Carla Leiter and Susanna Lopez, who continue to write grants and get every opportunity so that we're giving families everything we can give them. On this next slide, this is Seneca Elementary School. And this is some of the, what we've used for some of the funding we received is to have more socially distant lunch tables at our schools when students come back, so that they're not sitting in rows of students, but they have abilities to sit in less numbers and more tables. So very proud of that at Seneca Elementary. We're replacing those at a lot of schools. And then I want you to see some of the projects that are going on. This is the moderate severe classrooms at Moreno Valley High School and the new renovation there, the spaciousness of these classrooms and how they'll help students have more ease and access when they're coming in those buildings. This is, on the next slide is the cafeteria and the multi-purpose rendering at Moreno Valley High School. And I don't know if you remember well, you can kind of see it on one side, but it's truly going to look different, and it's going to be something that the students and the community can be very proud of. And then this is the library at Moreno Valley High School. New furniture, they have charging ports for students so they can charge when they're in the library, charge their Chromebooks, new carpet, new lighting. And this is very exciting to see, and it looks so, resembles all the modern features of what you'd like to see at a school. So I can't wait for the board to come see this when we can. And then this is buildings E and F, the art rooms at Moreno Valley High School, and some of the renovations that are taking place there. And then this is Canyon Springs High School. This is their proposed weight room renovation, and this will look appreciably different than it has. And so this is part of their school and what's happening there. And then I want to invite our community to our State of the District, where our board will be featured, and they will be thanking our employees for what they've done this year. And so I don't want you to miss this. It's February 18th at 5 o'clock. It's virtual, and we'll send out a Zoom link. And Claudia, don't we have a Zoom capability to have like 3,000 or something, or no? Yeah, so don't think you can't get in, because there'll be plenty of room. And then I want you to know that our reading festival this year, it's not going to be at the mall. It's going to be virtual. It's the 8th annual reading festival. It's going to be different, but it's going to be really, I think, very, very well done. And Carol Boyne-Held leads this, Director of Elementary Education. There's a date change, and it was the week before. Now it's going to be Saturday, March 6th at 9:30 a.m. And again, we're going to be recognizing employees at this. And then I just want to say how much it meant to be. Mr. Holguin came. We were represented as a school district there. I went to the Dr. Thornton's funeral, and how much she means to our community and how much her family means. Hearing her mother speak there and her family was very touching, and I just want to say we will miss her. And thank you for all that you did in our community. And then for Black History Month, I want to close tonight by saying we honor Aretha Louise Franklin, an American singer who found commercial success with Atlantic Records in 1966 and 1987. She became the first female artist to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And in 2008, she won her 18th Grammy Award, making her one of the most honored artists in Grammy history. And I want you to know it was my 3rd grade teacher, Maggie Ralston in Memphis, Tennessee, that introduced me to Aretha Franklin. I didn't know who she was before then, and I thank her for showing us about different people and what they provided to our community. So, Mr. Peden, that concludes my report, and thank you. I know it was kind of long, but there was a lot to tell, and I had to really take out some things, and there'll be more in March.
Thank you, Dr. Kidziora. Give me 1 second. I need to find my place here. Thank you for that report. Greatly appreciate that. We're now moving on to E4A, the approval of resolution number 2020-21 2021-56 Black History Month, February 2021. For a quick summary, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Moreno Valley Unified School District proclaims February 2021 as Black History Month and encourages all staff, students, parents, and community members to commemorate this occasion. Kim Taylor, African-American Parent Involvement Specialist, and Raymond DeLone, African-American Parent Advisory Council team will accept this resolution. Board members, before entertaining a motion to approve this item, is there any comments, questions, or concerns? Okay, seeing none. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 2020-21-56 Black History Month, February 2021 as presented?
I make a motion. Oh, go ahead.
That's all right. Doesn't matter.
Do you want Mr. Johnson to make a motion? I'll second. Oh, you want to say?
All right.
You just jumped at it. It's so important. So, okay, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2020-21-56 Black History Month, February 2021. Okay.
Then I'll second.
Dr. Locke motions and Vice President Johnson seconded. Roll call, please.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Dr. Locke,
Aye.
Mr. Holguin,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Peden.
Aye. Vote carries. The resolution is approved. Mr. Johnson, I believe you will be presenting on this item.
Mr. Johnson, I do want to let you know that we do have Ms. Broomfield joining us in the Zoom, as Ms. Kim Taylor was not unable to attend. And I also have a statement to read from Raymond Deloney.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then I am going to read this. Is she here, or we just don't see her, right?
No, she's there.
Oh, okay. I don't see her, but that's okay. So it gives me great pleasure to present this resolution to you. And if you don't mind, I'd like to just read it to you, and also to all of our viewers and listeners. Moreno Valley Unified School District Resolution number 2020-21-56, Black History Month, February 2021. Whereas Americans of African descent helped develop our nation in countless ways, those recognized, unrecognized, and unrecorded. Whereas African American history reflects a determined spirit of perseverance and cultural pride in its struggle to equally share in the opportunities of a nation founded upon the principles of freedom and liberty for all people. Whereas African American citizens have participated in every American effort to secure, protect, and maintain the essence and substance of American democracy, as reflected by California Education Code 37221D, which established March 5th as Black American Day to commemorate the anniversary of the death of Cypress Attucks, the first African-American martyr of the Boston Massacre. Whereas the California State Board of Education recognized in its multicultural education policy that each student needs an opportunity to understand the common humanity underlying all people, to develop pride in his or her own identity and heritage, and to understand, respect, and accept the identity and heritage of others. Whereas in the past history and contributions of African American citizens have been overlooked, misinterpreted, and undervalued in the curriculum of public education institutions, and whereas the history of social science framework for California public schools, kindergarten through grade 12, states that this history curriculum of community state, region, nation, and world must reflect the experiences of men and women of different racial, religious, and ethnic groups, which is integrated at every level. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of Moreno Valley Unified School District proclaims February 2021 as Black History Month and encourages all staff, students, parents, and community members to commemorate this occasion. So I don't see her, but I'm pretending I'm handing it to her with my left hand and I'm shaking with my right. So I guess she's around someplace. So pretend you're receiving it with your right and you're shaking with your left and you're shaking my hand with your right. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I'm shaking and hugging you at the same time.
Yeah, there you go. That's my buddy.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Keziora, Executive Cabinet, students, families, community, and my colleagues. It's my distinct honor and pleasure to accept this resolution recognizing Black History Month. African American history is one of endurance and strength. I take pride in recognizing the many contributions of African Americans throughout history to the present time. I'd like to just recognize a few of the many people who have made a difference in my life and shaped American history. Mary McLeod Bethune, a great educator who founded Bethune-Cookman College. Paul Laurence Dunbar, a great poet who my elementary school was named after. Thurgood Marshall, first African-American Supreme Court Justice. Harriet Tubman, who freed so many slaves they called her Moses. Dr. Charles Drew, who studied blood plasma and made it possible for a blood bank to bank blood to use at a later date. Carter Woodson, the father of Negro history. And also some African-Americans who have shaped history more recently. Barack Obama, the first African-American president of the United States. Kamala Harris, the first African-American vice president of the United States. Dr. Judy D. White, the first African-American superintendent of Moreno Valley Unified School District and the Riverside County Office of Education. My mother, Barbara Jean Campbell, who was the smartest woman in the world, though she lacked a high school diploma. And finally, Dr. Shirley Weber, the first African-American Secretary of State for the great state of California, who will be speaking to our African-American Advisory Council in our community on February 24th, 2021 at 6 p.m. And I want to echo Dr. Keziora's invitation and invite you all to be in attendance with us. Thank you so much for this opportunity to accept this resolution. It's my pleasure.
Mr. Peden, I have a quick short message from Mr. Raymond Delone, I'm sorry. I am honored to accept this resolution. I agree Black history should be taught in school. Every student should see the struggles, the strength, the courage, and the determination the African-American possessed through their journey through slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, and the Civil Rights Movement. All history has value, and the African-American experience is no exception. Thank you sincerely, Mr. Raymond Deloney, African-American Advisory Team. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Ms. Brumfield, thank you for those words. We greatly appreciate that, as well as Vice President Johnson. Moving on to E4B, the approval of resolution number 2020-21-57, Career and Technical Education Month. Quick summary. Now, therefore, the Board of Education of Moreno Valley Unified School District do hereby proclaim February 2021 as Career and Technical Education Month in Moreno Valley, California, and urge all citizens to become familiar with the services and benefits offered by this career and technical education programs in this community, and to support and participate in these programs to enhance their individual work skills and productivity. I believe we have, Claudia, is it correct? We have Dr. Esperanza Arce, Director of Secondary Education, and Jeff, is it Albee, a career technical education teacher of Vista del Lago High School, to accept this resolution. Before we go there, if there's any comments, questions, or concern from the board, this would be the time. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve this item. Okay, is there a motion?
I move to approve this resolution.
Moved by Board Member Smith. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
second by Vice President Johnson. Roll call, please.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Dr. Locke,
Aye.
Mr. Holguin,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Peden.
Aye, motion carries. And we have Dr. Locke, Board Member Locke, Board Member Dr. Locke, not sure how it should, to present this resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Oh,
Dr. Locke, real quick, just want to let you know that Dr. Arce submitted a response for me to read, and then I will be introducing Mr. Albee.
okay. Thank you so much. I'm honored to do this resolution. The Moreno Valley Unified School District recognizes that career and technical education, also known as CTE, is essential to the economic development and promotes achievement of academic standards. CTE provides school to career connections and is the backbone of a strong, well-educated workforce, providing students with lifelong opportunities to learn new skills that will lead them to a multitude of career choices and high-paying jobs. With the cooperative efforts of career and technical educators, business, industry, and city and county partnerships, we are stimulating the growth and vitality of our local economy while preparing graduates to assume employment while promoting a national sustainable economy. On behalf of the Board of Education, I'm proud to proclaim February as Career and Technical Education Month and urge everyone to become familiar with the services and benefits offered by the CTE programs in this community and district, and to support and participate in these programs to enhance the work skills and productivity. Thank you.
And the message from Dr. Arce, and I so wish she would have been here because I don't have that exact energy that she portrays, but these are her words. I am honored to accept this resolution and want to thank the Board of Education, Dr. Kidziora, and Cabinet for their immense support for the CTE. Career technical and education is such a critical part of our district and is a major puzzle piece of our strategic plan that includes our vision, mission, portrait of a graduate, goals and commitments, and outcomes. Students who complete a pathway or engage in a CTE course are not only positively impacting our college and career indicators in the California dashboard, but leave our district with amazing skills to effectively transition into college or the workforce. I personally want to thank Maria Lozano and Diane Lamar for their commitment and monitoring of our CTE program. They have been a blessing during this time that I have had the privilege of overseeing the college and career department. To talk a little bit more about our pathways and one of our most successful programs, I would like to introduce you to Jeff Albee, a CTE teacher, coach, and mentor at Vista del Lago High School. Mr. Albee.
Thank you, Claudia. Good evening, board, cabinet, and community. It's with great honor and pride that I accept this resolution on behalf of our 23 CTE pathways and 3,602 CTE students that are currently enrolled in our programs. Our success in CTE is because of the collective effort that we have within the district, from our board level all the way down to our local industry business partners. It's more than just writing grants and spending money and buying really expensive, cool looking stuff. Those that have been to my room probably think that's what we do. But the reality is it's really working together to find ways to help our students be successful, to help them have real world experience so that they have those skills to either continue their education or get additional training after high school, or actually go into the workforce with the skills needed to have a viable career. This year has not been easy for anybody, but I think it's been especially difficult for our CTE teachers. We typically, especially in my program, do hands-on learning. So every skill is developed by basically having our students work with their hands or on those particular subject matter projects or assignments. So we've had to spend a lot of time recreating the wheel kind of thing, working our curriculum and really trying to find skills and opportunities for our students to design or develop those skills in that type of setting with the distance learning. So we've spent a lot of time. We're seeing the rewards, but it's definitely been a lot of extra work for us this year. So I know that Esperanza mentioned that we've had a successful program, but I think all of our programs have been successful. To have 3,600 students enrolled in our pathways and be able to see this success, see our students leaving our pathways, finding ways to enter the workforce, to go on to college, to get those certificates and do all the things that they're doing it really improves our community. And I think that's what's one of the important things that we need to look at is it's not just checking off a box and completing a class. It's helping them to be successful for the rest of their life. So as I accept this resolution, I really do so on behalf of all of our CTE teachers and our pathways, because without all of them, all these students wouldn't have the great opportunities that we have within our district to learn and grow and to basically develop their career opportunities. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alvey, and Ms. Arce or Dr. Arce for those comments and words. CTE is extremely important to the board here for sure. So thank you again. Moving on to E4C, resolution number 2020-21-58, adopting the official proclamation of National School Breakfast Week. For a quick summary, the Board of Education of the Moreno Valley Unified School District acknowledges that nutrition is an essential part in the education of children by adopting resolution 2020-21-58, adopting the official proclamation for National School Breakfast Week, March 8th through 12th, 2021. We have, I believe, Claudia, do we have Craig Foles?
He submitted a statement to be read, Mr. Peden.
Okay, how do you pronounce his last name?
Pulsifer.
Pulsifer. Okay, nutritionist. He will be here to accept it. Well, he'll be, Claudia will be reading a statement from him. Or if before we go and have that presentation, is there a motion to accept this resolution?
I make a motion to accept resolution number 2020-21-58, adopting the official proclamation for National School Breakfast Week.
I will second that.
Motion by Dr. Locke, a second by Ms. Smith. Is there a roll call, please?
Ms. Smith.
Aye.
Dr. Locke.
Aye.
Mr. Hogan.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Peden.
Aye. Vote carries, and we have Mr. Holguin to present this resolution or proclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Peden. I appreciate the opportunity to allow me to present this resolution. I think this is a critical resolution, and it is for National School Breakfast being recognized the week of March 8 to 12, 2021. The school breakfast program was permanently established in 1975 and is dedicated to the health and well-being of our nation's children. We know that students do better academically and behaviorally when they have breakfast. Offering breakfast as part of the school day improves children's diets, builds healthy, lifelong eating habits, and allows students to begin their days focused and ready to learn. And just for the community to know, I have some statistical information that is very important. Just during the last full year of our school here in Moreno Valley, during the 2018-19 school year, including summer school, our district served very amazing numbers, very impressive service to our students. We served approximately 900,000 meals in the elementary schools, 365,000 meals at middle schools, and almost 425,000 meals at the high school level, for a grand total of 1,686,800 breakfast meals. Those are very impressive numbers, and that is just here in the Moreno Valley Unified School District. Very proud and very happy and very thankful of the work of our Nutrition Services Department, each and every one of them. And the district and this board's commitment to the health and nutrition of our students. So I truly appreciate my colleagues, the Board of Education, for adopting this resolution tonight in support of National Breakfast Week, the week of March 8 to 12, 2021. And once again, thank you for allowing me to present this resolution. I wish I could hand it face-to-face to Mr. Pulsifer, but I know he's not here. So Claudia, would you please help me with that? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hogan. The message from Craig Pulsifer is, I am happy to accept this resolution of the board adopting their proclamation for National Breakfast Week. This will be a fun week for nutrition services to promote the importance of breakfast. The theme for National School Breakfast Week this year is Score Big with School Breakfast. The theme implies that good nutrition and a healthy breakfast is essential to sports performance as well as performance in the classroom. Especially in this time of Zoom meetings and home quarantines, we want kids to remember that breakfast is still part of a morning routine. It still fuels the brain and gets them ready to learn. We are going to use this week to get people excited about breakfast so they can focus on accomplishing greatness. Thank you very much, Craig Pulsifer.
Thank you, Craig Pulsifer, for those comments, and Board Member Holguin, thank you so much for presenting that resolution. Really appreciate it. All right, moving on to E5, staff responses to public comments made at previous meeting. Dr. Kiziora?
There are none. Thank you, Mr. Payton.
Thank you so much. Moving on to E6, public comments on agenda items. Any person requesting to speak to any item on the agenda may do so at this time or when the item is addressed by the Board of Education. Individual speakers shall be allowed to speak for 3 minutes on any agenda item. The Board of Education shall limit the total time for public input on each agenda item to 21 minutes. Board Bylaw 9323B, Section 5, per Board Bylaw 9323. Twice the allotted time will be provided to a member of the public utilizing a translator. Claudia, do we have any public comments on any agenda items?
No public comments on agenda items.
Thank you, Claudia. Moving on to E7, public comments on non-agenda items. Board of Education encourages public comments. During this section, staff may briefly respond to statements or questions or may ask questions for clarification. The board may refer to staff or other resources for factual information, direct staff to report back at a subsequent meeting, and or direct staff to place the topic on a future agenda item, on a future agenda. If someone wants to lodge a complaint against an employee, the appropriate form may be obtained at any school or community education center. Individual speakers shall be allowed to speak for a total of 3 minutes on non-agenda items, regardless of the number of issues to be addressed by the individual. The Board of Education shall limit the total time for public input on non-agenda items to 21 minutes per Board Bylaw 9323. Twice the allotted time will be provided to a member of the public utilizing a translator. With the Board of Education consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers or against a particular issue and may ask the additional persons speak only if they have something to add, something new to add, excuse me. Board Bylaw 9323 BC Section 5. Claudia, do we have any public comments on non-agenda items?
Yes, Mr. Payton, we got 2 public comments, and I have my colleague Erica Cuevas who's going to assist by reading them.
Thank you so much.
Speaker Paul Escobar. I would like to share our family's perspective, and I want you to know we understand everyone is doing their best, doing what they believe is the right thing to do. We have a 2021 senior and a freshman, but I'm going to focus on the senior. We felt so bad for our seniors of 2020, and rightfully so. They lost most of the time of senior year. However, the seniors of 2021 are extremely worse off. They had the last 3 months of junior year taken away. They will also have their entire senior experience robbed from them. No first week of school, no pep rallies or senior assemblies, no homecoming dance or homecoming game, no senior night in the sports or choirs they normally participate in, no fall concert or battle of the bands, no musical or play, no winter formal, no spring fair, no prom, no senior week. Nothing to put in their senior yearbook and no opportunity for those last notes from schoolmates leading into their future after the last day of their public education life. The focus has been to get TK through 2nd grade children back to school and mitigate learning loss. Admirable. However, those students have the most time to catch up. Your seniors have the least time before they are booted out into the world, spending a full year and a half without stepping foot inside a classroom, without social interaction with their peers or teachers or coaches or administrators, without physical activity or creative outlet. We are doing them the greatest disservice, and my thought is they will not forget nor forgive us for it. Our seniors are so desperate for social interaction, so desperate for real face-to-face contact with teachers and peers. that they are willing to do just about anything you request of them to attend class, even if it is only once a week, 6 feet apart in the parking lot. I ache for my senior. While none of us will ever get this time back, their situation seems even crueler than ours does. Not only have they lost time, they have lost social interaction and critical life experiences. I ache for the teachers who want to be back, and quite frankly, this is ridiculous to keep our seniors out of school. However, some are afraid to speak against the majority in fear. I ache for our principals and administrators who try so hard to be cheerful and uplifting when you see them at grab-and-go lunches. None of this is ideal or a chosen path for anyone. I have been a proud parent and supporter of this district since our first child began school in 2005, a district of trailblazers, trendsetters, and change makers. Right now, I am a disappointed parent as it seems those trailblazers and change makers have simply fallen into line instead of leading the way, finding a way. Our next speaker is Amy Escobar. We have Wi-Fi buses at various locations around the district, including our high schools where students can come connect. Why can our senior class come bring their own chairs, sit in their own sections with their peers, socially distanced 6 feet apart, and masked up to attend class in person? If we can offer athletic conditioning with rigid rules and stipulations, surely Moreno Valley Unified, the Trailblazers in Riverside County can find a way to get our seniors on campus for a few months of their senior year. It is time to choose Moreno Valley Unified, who and what you fight for, who you represent, how you want to be remembered. Someone is always first. Why not MVUSD? Just like Mary Jackson, and I quote from the movie scene in Hidden Figures, make you the first. You of all people should understand the importance of being first. You were the first in your family to serve in the armed forces, US Navy, the first to attend university. I plan on being an engineer at NASA, but I can't do that without taking them classes at that all-white high school. And I can't change the color of my skin, so I have no choice but to be the first, which I can't do without you, sir. Your Honor, out of all the cases you are going to hear today, which one is going to matter 100 years from now? Which one is going to make you the first? You can do this, Moreno Valley Unified, not with the work around the system, but with the creativity inherent in this district. And you can still leave the choice to the senior students, senior parents, and senior teachers on whether to attend in the parking lot or attend class online. I have faith in you, and maybe that is why this is such a bitter pill to swallow, because I have the highest expectations for you, because I believe you will do what is right for each and every senior. We preach equity and fairness here, but I am not seeing that for our seniors. Poll every single one, every single senior parent, every single senior teacher. Equity is about making sure every student has what he or she needs to be successful, not that each receives the same tools. I learned this from you, MVUSD. We do not provide what is equal. We provide what is equitable, an equitable education for all. Respectfully, the parents of a Southern California senior.
That was a comment, Mr. Green.
Thank you, Claudia. Okay, moving on to item F, consent agenda. All matters in this category are considered to be consistent with the board/district goals. There will be no separate discussion on these items. If discussion is required, items may be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Board, is there any questions, comments, or concerns on this item before we proceed with entertaining a motion? Okay, seeing no questions, comments, or concerns, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Holguin, I believe I heard.
I'll second it.
Okay, and seconded by Vice President Johnson. Roll call, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Peden.
Aye, vote carries. Consent agenda is approved. Moving on to item G, discussion/informational items. Superintendent discussion informational items. G1A, discussion on school COVID-19 updates the 2020-21 school year. Dr. Kidziora, if you can assist us with this item.
Thank you, Mr. Peden. I'm going to go right to the next slide, please. So I want the board to know when I do this tonight, you're going to vote on 2 items after this presentation. One is on marching band and one is on competition. So I have a lot of information in here about those 2 items and other items. So I just wanted to point that out before I begin. And again, if you have questions as I go through this, please ask, please let me know. And then, so on this slide, this is the United States is the country with the highest cases of COVID-19. And just to show that in the world. And then this on this next slide is the status of COVID-19 cases over time. And this is the number in red at the bottom demonstrates the increase of cases since the first time that we began to provide you with these updates in August of last year. So you can see the city of Moreno Valley, the county of Riverside, and California. Then on this next slide, this is the status of COVID-19 data regarding deaths over time. And the number in red at the bottom demonstrates the increase of cases since the first time that we began to provide you with these updates in August of last year. And please note that each of these numbers represents a person, a life, someone's brother, sister, mother, father, uncle, aunt, grandmother, grandfather, cousin, or godparent. I encourage everyone to please follow the safety precautions, not only while at work, but at home too. We want to stop the spread. We want to stop the spread of COVID, which is why in this room tonight, the people who are here in the district that are around other people have on masks, and we wear them when we're around people during the day, and we don't take them off unless we're by ourselves. And I just want to, point that out because sometimes people they think that if they haven't heard something that we may not be still experiencing COVID-related issues. Then on this next slide, this is COVID-19 data, and this is the summary of cases. There's 278 positive cases, and these numbers reflect staff members who tested positive to COVID-19, whether they were on or off campus. So we want you to remember there's a variety of factors involved, and each case is unique. These numbers reflect staff members who tested positive to COVID-19, as I said, whether they were working on campus or if they were working remotely. We are working on creating a dashboard to show only those cases that happened on campus so it can assist schools and the district to monitor cases. On the next slide, this is about the reopening plan, as they call it, where you are in the tiers. We're in the purple tier. And the county's latest case rate, or cases per 100,000 residents, is now at 44.9, and that is adjusted for our tier assignment. Districts cannot reopen a school until the county is below 25 cases per 100,000 adjusted rate for 5 consecutive days. So this is an important consideration in what we do. Now, at the last board meeting, it was requested that we provide some information on the state's return to school plan. This is the governor's plan. And if you look on our website, you'll see this COVID-19 reporting in-person instruction framework. But the state's return to school plan does not provide sufficient time for schools to meet funding requirements. Other components of the plan are also on ambitious timelines. It's unclear whether state agencies and local health departments have the capacity to help schools develop and implement their reopening plans. School districts are required to submit a checklist to the local health agency, county office of education, and the state if they are planning to reopen within the timeline set forth by the state. The timelines, as I said, are very ambitious and difficult for people to be part of. Now, on this next slide, I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that are issues. And there are various groups who've been writing to the state regarding the implementation of this plan. A few of the requests to the state are the following, and these are what people are asking for. And the first one there is prioritizing vaccine access for school employees, with added priority being given to employees already working in person. As you know, it's difficult to secure vaccines during this time, and even trying to secure vaccines for our staff at this time is challenging. Requiring all students and staff to wear masks and supplying personal protective equipment. We have received masks from the state, however, these are one-time shipments of disposable masks. Some masks say they would be worn for up to 4 hours, which means we should be wearing 2 disposable ones per day. So if they sent over 20,000, for example, for 20,000 students or staff, if we are here for at least 8 hours a day, then we need double that amount, 40,000 masks. Masks also get wet during the rain or damaged throughout the day, so having the personal protective equipment is important. We've been able to manage right now with our current staff who are working on campus, but we know that not all students are back yet. We have over 32,000 students to think about. We have to establish clear and consistent public health standards for when and how schools must open. Organizations support a statewide health metric that triggers school reopenings as community conditions allow for a safer local path for reopening. Testing protocols to be decided locally with the approval of local health officers. Currently, the state is asking for us to test to develop a plan for all staff and students to get tested for COVID-19 if we were to reopen. It requires infrastructure, staffing, new billing operations, private and state lab capacity, testing contracts, collection, and transportation of tests. It's already challenging to secure testing as it is, so many have argued that this is unrealistic and want schools to collaborate with the county's guidance. On the next slide, we're required to provide this, even though we are not. The board voted on December 15th to remain in distance learning throughout the year, but we're required by the state to complete this checklist. And we completed the checklist for our current programs, which is for athletic conditioning, in-person assessments, and for staff who are working on site. Please know when we approach the actual reopening of schools, we need to meet all of these requirements district-wide. So one of the areas is stable group structures, which is very difficult to accomplish. Entrance and egress and movement within the school, face coverings, healthy screenings, healthy hygiene, identification and tracing of contacts, and physical distancing, staff training and family education, testing of staff and students, identification and reporting of cases, communication plans, and consultation. So that's about the governor's reopening plan. Were there any questions, or because these are in sections, but I don't want to, if you had any comments, I was going to stop there for a minute, but if you don't, I can just keep going.
Don't have any comments or questions? Any board members, anybody?
No.
Okay, thank you. So one of the things we are working on is trying to provide a vaccination clinic in our school district. We're in consultation and communication with the Riverside Medical Clinic. We have now created a database with a list of employees interested in the vaccinations. That is the process of being entered into Riverside Medical Clinic system for pre-registrations. So currently we do not have a schedule for appointments. County clinics are focusing on people over the age of 65 now. Private providers are still vaccinating phase 1A, all tiers, and phase 1B, tier 1. The county is reserving specific clinic appointments and reaching out to those who came out to county pods for their first dose to obtain their second dose. Each person is contacted individually. The county asks that you not share your email with others, as the link is specific to each person. If shared, this is one of the things that affects the scheduling process for everyone. And you can visit that website there for more information and vaccine clinic registration links. So on our COVID prevention program, which is CPP, we continuously update this, and as we get new information from the county, state, or CDC, And in every one of the communications that goes out on Tuesday and Friday to the principals, which the board receives, that document is in there and it's updated. So in the COVID-19 prevention program, is that page 14 he's on or 15?
15.
I'm on 14. I just want to make sure that I'm in the right. Okay, so yeah, go to 15. I'm sorry, I apologize. Okay. I don't have it appearing on my screen here, so I'm trying to watch that, so I apologize. So on this next slide, this is the updated topics. The COVID-19 prevention program has various topics and information related to COVID-19. Just so the board knows and the community, we reviewed this at every principal's meeting, and we did it again on February 2nd, and we sent it to them with any updates every Tuesday and Friday. Sometimes they feel like they're in trouble because we go over this so much. We're not in trouble. We just want to make sure that we communicate this over and over because we still have instances where things happen. The prevention program is aligned to Cal OSHA, county, state, and federal guidelines. So the next section is on marching band and color guard. And this is one of the items we're asking the board to vote on tonight. Our proposed start date is March the 1st. Marching band and color guard conditioning will follow, it says similar, but they're the exact same guidelines as the athletic conditioning. Wind instruments are not allowed. Students will complete a series of steps just like the athletes did. They go into the portal, they complete the steps to participate, including a waiver, watching a training video, and taking a short quiz to make sure they understand the safety protocols and that we have documentation so that when something happens, we remind them of the expectation. And it's worked very well in athletic conditioning. That's for marching band. Are there any questions about that? That's the only slide on that.
Dr. Ketzior, did they explain why wind instruments are not allowed? I'm just curious.
Well, it's mainly because of droplets and when
okay.
Okay. Because you can't like control things from intercepting.
A little more than the brass instruments.
Yes.
Okay.
And then this is on athletic conditioning. So tonight we're going to be asking the board to approve so that our students can compete. You probably read in the press enterprise or seen where Riverside Unified, their schools are having cross-country competitions, and that's between two schools. It's not like there's going to be, it's between two schools. I want to reemphasize that. So again, this is the schedule. It's the same one that we've showed before. There's the spring sports and the fall sports, and those are the times of the conditioning times. And then these are the updates. So the spring coaches, and you were at this meeting, the board and the cabinet was there. Spring coaches met on January 25th at 5 p.m. We resumed athletic conditioning on Monday, February 1st. And I want to remind everyone that we can only do this because the health department has approved this. So when anybody asks, why can't you do other things? We're only doing what we're allowed to do and what is safe to do and what we've been given the authority to do. Last week, the county informed us that they allow sports to continue as long as safety precautions are met. And this is social distancing of a minimum of 6 feet. Face coverings are required, no use of indoor facilities, and team competitions in approved tiers with only 2 teams. So we received, I just want you to know the county informed us, and I want to just remind you of this, that they allow sports to continue as long as the safety precautions are met. And that's one of the huge conditions of this and why it's monitored. Go ahead.
Can you elaborate on the face coverings required? Is that while on site during the at the area where participation is going to be taking place, or during the actual athletic event as an athlete?
During the actual athletic event, unless, you know, they're drinking water or, you know, removing it for some reason to, you know, they have to, you know,
So if I'm a runner in cross country, I need to run with my mask on.
Yes, and that's something that is for each student is looked at, you know, depending on their, but that's what we encourage and expect. Yes.
Understood. Thank you.
I just want you to know that in the next slides, we're going to review some of these items in detail. And I know that many may be asking questions in regards to why schools are considering and moving forward with sports. So I wanted to just tell you that Maslow's hierarchy of needs reassures us this through athletics. Our student athletes can begin to rebuild themselves and rise to the level of academic performance they once found themselves in. The LCAP, our continuity plan, states that learning hubs will be in place for students who are at risk academically. Currently, we're exploring ways to make this happen, and we want all students to succeed. Through the athletic programs, we can use this as a guide to make our learning hub successful. We have shown success through athletic conditioning and continue enhancing this program. Will not only our ability to continue to enhance this program will not only help students, but other programs like this. Finally, under normal circumstances, CIF has a very strict transfer policy to prevent schools from recruiting students from other schools. During COVID-19, if a school does not offer a sport or because of COVID-19 does not want to engage in competitions, a student can transfer to another school or district without penalty. Currently, there are many schools across the county that have agreed to compete and are creating their athletic schedules. Our schools want our athletic directors, our principals, our schools, our students, our parents want to participate, and we do not want our students not to be able to participate. So that is why these, all of these protocols and procedures are very important. So if you look, these are the outdoor low contact sports permitted in the purple tier. Look at that kid running there. He doesn't have on a mask, does he? There's cross country, golf, running, swimming and diving, tennis, track and field. Now I want y'all to know there's a whole lot more that they had on that list. And for our purposes, I took them off because we don't offer those sports. But I wanted you to see these because these are the ones we do have. And student athletes are allowed to compete between two teams in the approved tier sports from the latest guidance from the California Department of Public Health. So it's two teams. And again, our cohorts are limited to 12 or less students. So it's two cohorts against, you know, that compete against each other. Currently, we're in the purple tier, and these are the approved sports. If it's only two teams competing, that we follow the health department guidelines. We shared our plan with the county health department, and they confirmed, because this was important, I wanted the board to know, they confirmed that it met all the necessary guidelines, and they approved it. So before we brought it to you, we submitted a plan to them, and I want to thank Dr. Arce and Dr. Verdi and the athletic directors, because I've asked Dr. Verdi to work exclusively with Dr. Arce, so there's no miscommunication, and the athletic directors, because this being all of us on the same page is really important. And then the athletics plan on the next slide. This is what happens for any event that and competitions. When I talk about the two teams, there is symptom screening. I've given this to the board in another communication. These documents here that you see on the screen. Symptom screening, social distancing, equipment cleaning and hygiene, face coverings, observers and spectators, teams, cohorts, and transportation. We submitted a proposed plan to the county for their review and input, which they approved. We've been working with them to ensure we meet all guidelines necessary. They confirmed that our guidelines align with their requirements as well as the state's requirements. So there's, you know, double requirements there looking back and forth. Most of them are things we're already doing, such as symptom screening, social distancing, and face coverings. But when considering the competitions and possibility of parents wanting to come visit or sharing equipment, there are guidelines in place which we will review in the next slides. And I want to clearly say something this is very important. They have to wear the mask unless they cannot tolerate it anymore and it becomes a hazard. So I just want you to know these are things that you watch for, and I didn't say that it's clear, and I wanted to say that clearer because yes, they do, but unless it becomes a hazard, and that's something that people have to pay attention to. And there's education on that. That's part of your education plan. That's why students watch a video. That's why they have that portal. They have to complete those steps, and that's to make sure that people know what's involved when they're participating. So on the next slide, go ahead.
Just to be clear, are you going to be covering a little bit more in detail the observer and spectators as well as the transportation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then on this is equipment cleaning and hygiene. We want to minimize equipment cleaning, but it is allowed. Equipment sharing, excuse me, but it is allowed. But we want to minimize it because of just general. We don't want people to contract COVID or have any issues. We want to prioritize individual equipment use, and we want to prioritize hand hygiene. Cleaning and disinfection for shared equipment. Spotters are allowed for brief exercises, and water bottles must not be shared. I want to make another clarification, and I say this because I don't want it to be ambiguous. It is mandatory from the state and county to wear the face mask. So I hope that's clearer.
Yes, it is.
So since we're in the purple tier, and the county says sharing of equipment should be minimized as much as possible at this time. This is why we continuously encourage students to use their own equipment, labeled specifically for athletes. We'll also be asking students to perform and prioritize hand hygiene, wash hands with soap and water, or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer before play. During breaks, at halftime, and after the conclusion of the event or competition. If equipment must be shared, it should be cleaned and disinfected with provided wipes before use by another person, group, or team. For outdoor weight equipment, all equipment will be disinfected after each use. I want to say again that we have worked extensively and carefully with maintenance and operations, our custodial staff, our principals, our campus security, and our athletic directors and our coaches. And these, I want to say that we go over these so much that people feel like they're being reprimanded, but they're not. We're just communicating this and repeating it. For outdoor equipment, all equipment will be disinfected after each use. If needed, spotters are allowed as long as the time period of exercises is brief and does not exceed 15 minutes to avoid potentially being a close contact to a positive case. We highly encourage students to conduct weight exercises that they are able to do on their own. Balls or other objects or equipment can be touched by multiple players and used during the event, competition, and play if the above hand hygiene practices are followed. Drink bottles must not be shared, and other personal items and equipment should not be shared. And again, that's in the steps that students watch or that they read, and they also watch a video, and that's in there. On the next slide is the observers and the spectators at the events. And the county is not allowing only allowing a single guardian to attend. So of those students who are competing, there's only a single guardian allowed. So that's another piece that has to be monitored. And no other spectators will be allowed except guardians to ensure physical distancing can be maintained, reduce potential crowding, and maintain capacity limits allowed by tiers. You know, you probably noticed, I may not have this right, you know, Mr. Johnson, you may know, or Daryl, or I don't know, Dr. Locke, you could know. But at the Super Bowl, didn't they allow like 22,000 people to be in the stadium?
Yeah.
It's like 20, they had a limit. Well, the same will be true for these competitions. You know, if you have 24 students that are participating, one adult, one guardian per student. So you monitor that. The same, you know, just like they had there.
Yeah.
Observers must stay at least 6 feet from non-household members and wear face coverings.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
And so that's about observers and spectators. Are there any questions on that?
Yes, my only question would be, what if the observer or parent or guardian decides they don't want to wear a mask or they don't want to socially distance? What?
Well, we got a problem. And our campus supervisors, we work on, you know, we work to de-escalate issues, and our principals and our, you know, there's always an administrator at one of these events. So there's someone that can help, you know, reroute, remind, you know, educate, help them. But these are not choices. These are things we have to do in order for everyone to be able to participate and compete. So, you know, we're not going to, you know, we don't want to threaten anyone, but we do want people to know that in order for the competition to continue, we have to have everyone follow the guidelines.
Thank you, Dr. Kazir, for that explanation.
So then, you're welcome. And on the next slide, on teams and cohorts, athletes and coaches should cohort by team and refrain from participating with more than one team over the same season or time period. So what this means is that students have been grouped together and different coaches at this time due to our previous conditioning plan. And now that students will be participating in competitions, it's important that they are grouped together in their actual teams so that we limit mixing with students from outside of those teams. For example, cross-country students are probably in 5 different cohorts right now. With this new plan, we will combine the cross-country students so they are with each other and their respective coach. The team size should stay minimal, as it will be much easier to track cases or exposures. As you know, even when the state allowed us to have 14 to 16 students in a cohort, Moreno Valley Unified School District kept our cohort smaller with the maximum of 12 students per group. And we're going to continue keeping our groups as small as possible, but we're taking into consideration the updated guidelines regarding competitions. But we're also reminded on our health calls, whatever we do, keep it as small as possible. You don't have to have the maximum, and we don't want to. It's easier to manage. It's easier for, you know, everyone just to be safe and also follow all the guidelines and to be observant. You have to be very observant with these when things are happening. So then one of the things that's come up, of course, is transportation. And I want you to know we have an amazing transportation team, a director that supports our schools, you know, and we highly encourage parents to provide transportation to students to minimize any potential exposure. But we understand there may be families who need transportation for their children for these events before they were transported. For students who use transportation, any students who are waiting for their ride will be waiting in the designated isolation area where students will wait for the ride until they are picked up. So it has to be a certain area where they are. And on these buses, which it says here, they'll be thoroughly cleaned daily after transporting any individual to ensure a minimum of 6 feet. A full-size bus is only able to transport a total of 13 people. Drivers will be provided cleaning materials, including but not limited to wipes and disposable gloves to support cleaning of frequently touched surfaces during the day. And all parents and guardians must acknowledge that they have read and received a copy of the bus rider's guide. So there's more on this next slide about transportation and screening and temperature checks. If a student exhibits COVID symptoms, they'll not be allowed to board the bus, and they'll need to be escorted home by the parent or guardian. And we know that everything doesn't always work out perfectly in these situations, but we are talking and discussing what to do if the parent's not there, or where the student should be placed in the interim to make them most comfortable, and those situations. While waiting for the bus, please be respectful of others, maintain social distancing, and wear your mask. Passengers will be loaded and seated from back to front, maintaining a required social distance of 6 feet. A properly worn face mask will be required to board the bus, and it's to remain for the duration of that ride. Most of the bus rider information includes general information that applied in the past, but this year we included information regarding COVID-19 safety responses. This is a video. I don't know if we showed it before, but I'd like for you to see it again in the public of what transportation has done and what it will look like getting onto a bus in Moreno Valley Unified School District for these events. That it? That was quick. That was a quick ride. I'm going to move on to the next slide, and this is about resources. And this all goes together because I want you to know I'm just so impressed with what's happening. And, it's to keep people safe is why it's happening. But there have been 78 hotspots delivered and 17 hotspots pending delivery. We've updated the Wi-Fi bus routes, and we'll be sending that out in tonight's communication, and we do that each time. Each of the 17 smart bus locations serve our students' Wi-Fi needs from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. If you're having trouble connecting with the internet, you can come here to these buses. And I want you to know, I've had different people tell me that they were further away than we said, and they connected. But you don't have to not have the internet, or you may just want to come to a bus area instead of just being at home. You might want to get out if the weather's nice and come to one of these areas where you can socially distance and you can use the Wi-Fi. So I just want you to know they're provided in a variety of locations, and delivery by transportation team members led by Director Jim Burleson, and child welfare and attendance team members and coordinator Amanda Denniston. Hotspots have been personally delivered to families. We want to thank Amanda Denniston and Jim Burleson and our student interns, Alexis Puente and Caitlin, for helping us distribute these hotspots throughout the past few weeks. I just want y'all to know that sometimes students move or they change addresses quicker than the hotspots can get to them sometimes. We're discovering a lot of different situations. And we're very responsive, though. Amanda Denniston is out every day with Jim Burleson. And then I have a weekend team of student interns that are helping get these delivered. And, it's just, both these students speak Spanish that go with me. And so they've been able to help a lot of people. So you asked about some of the smart bus data usage. We don't have it in the number of people that go, but this is the number of the use of these buses where they are located. So the total homework hours online, 2,132 hours and 58 minutes. I mean, I was like, that's a lot. This is just from January. 106 hours and 39 minutes are the average homework hours online per device used for 20 devices. Does that say 20 devices? Yes. This is so small. I'm like, and then 125 hours and 28 minutes for online per device groups per day, and 6 hours and 6 minutes per device used for 20 devices. So to track and measure the effectiveness of this effort, we're able to look at daily data usage from each location as well as the internet sites utilized. Unfortunately, we're unable to see how many devices connect at each location. Devices refers to each of the smart bus devices installed, not individual student devices. We'll be utilizing this information to determine student engagement at individual locations and relocate smart buses as needed to optimize this resource. On this next slide, it talks about smart bus data usage and what students use it for. So 40% use it to access Clever, 37% code.org, 19% quiz.com, 2.4% usertrust.com, and other. You can see the hour where the highest usage is at 10 o'clock, and that's where most distance learning is occurring. And this shows us that most of the usage is students logging into their Clever account, which makes sense that is how they access their work. And you can see usage by hour, which shows highest usage in the morning when students would be in their synchronous learning. Internet access is filtered and access is limited to student appropriate sites. This is an important feature that ensures data is utilized for educational purposes. But I do want to say this is very innovative and creative. And I want to thank really our transportation, Jim Burleson, for, really, being involved and engaged in this and to help us. We continue in our district to have technology support. I want to thank Technology Innovation and Assessment and Susanna Lopez, because this has gone on since we began, and I think it's an important support for our community. It's from 8:30 to 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and from 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Fridays. This is for Chromebook Assistance. When you need help with your Chromebook, something's not working, and you need support, there's someone here that will help you. And the help desk that you could call is it's 951-571-7676. It's open from 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and from 8:30 to 4:30 on Fridays. So I want to encourage students and families, when you're having any type of technology issue, to make use of these resources, because we want you to get the support you need. And I want to remind students in this that just like this board meeting, we're online and ready for the board meeting. We want you to be online and ready for class. Actively participate when you can. Be prepared at least 5 minutes before class time. Be aware of your physical surroundings. We adjust our cameras. We make sure certain things are in place. And so you want to make sure, students and families, that you do that, and use your headphones I have them on right now, to minimize other sounds or distractions, and always be respectful. And so I want to remind parents that we have a couple of projects. The Parent Project, this program is composed of 10 weekly sessions that, after straightforward, practical, step-by-step action plans for parents raising teenagers. It's Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. And then there's Partners for Parenting University, with a clear understanding of what bullying is and how to report it and what to expect once it has been reported. On February 10th at 6 p.m., Help My Child is Being Bullied. That's what it's titled. And on April 14th at 6 p.m., Keeping Your Children Safe from Technology. And with if there's more demand, or we can offer more at different times, we want people to let us know. You can contact public information at MVUSD.net, and we'll be glad to record these and send them to you, or any way we can help you, because we know that schedules are busy and people need things. Now, another area that we want to address is social emotional support that we're providing in the district. Some resources are that we have MVUSD Mindful Moments. There's a website with resources for teachers, staff, and students. It's on our MVUSD website. We have Care Solace, a tool to connect with community-based mental health care resources and providers. And each school knows about this. The principals have all been educated about this in principals meetings. So you can contact public information, but I want you to know every child's principal knows about this. RCOE has a virtual, that's Riverside County Office of Education. They also have a virtual wellness center It's a website of resources and tools. They interface with district websites. And then there's a mental health virtual student-led conference, March 17th and 19th and the 20th. And that registration begins February 19th for students to attend that. It's a student-led conference. So one of the things that, this isn't totally the whole list, but this is some of the things that we spent on social emotional learning. Document Today, Care Solace, working with them to provide additional resources. We had a social emotional support summit, and then health support through nurses, health techs, and district support out there at schools and with our community. And that's just some of it, because I want you to know our schools are doing a lot too. And I'm going to try and get some more information on what they're doing, but this is the district, what we're doing right now. And then I want you to know some of the upcoming things that we're doing is we're working on elementary counselors. We know that when our students come back to school, they will need support. And so we are prioritizing full-time counselors at every elementary school site, having 23 elementary schools. We had some schools that shared counselors, but we're going to make sure every elementary school has a full-time counselor. And so we have 11 full-time counselors right now at elementary sites, and those are Armada, Bear Valley, Butterfield, Ramona, Chaparral Hills, Cloverdale, Honey Hollow, La Jolla, Northridge, Sunnymead, and Towngate. And sometimes it's district provided, and sometimes the school has through their Title I paid for a portion of their counselor so they can have full-time counseling. But we're going to help the schools by providing the support for a full-time counselor at every school. We're very proud of the counselor to student ratio that we have in our middle and high schools. That was part of our LCAP. We have 7 counselors at each comprehensive high school and 3 counselors at each middle school. And then our alternative high schools have 2 counselors or 3 in some cases in each of their high schools. So another area we want to work on is social work. We have social work interns in the district, but we want a full-time social worker for each of our, not each of them, but for high schools to share in their feeder pattern. Right now, the district has 1 social worker that we have, and she works with our bar program at Vista del Lago and Moreno Valley High School mostly, and the feeder pattern, all the schools that feed into there. And then we want to have another one that would work with Canyon Springs and Moreno Valley High School and their feeder patterns, but also to connect with those interns that we have, because we have social work interns that we always have like 30 or 40 every year in our district. And so it's great to have them there and working with a full-time social worker. So that's something that we'll be bringing to the board. We're still finalizing the plan and the funding. And I'm working with Susanna Lopez and Lisa Broomfield, but we are working on making that happen for July 1st. Then in nutrition, this is really wonderful. I mean, I just want to thank Carla Leiter and Susanna Lopez, but this is something that I'm glad is happening. We'll begin to distribute weekend meal kits with the additional CARES funding. So Thursday, February 11th, they'll have extra meals for the holidays, February 12th and 15th. And because food insecurity can lead to behavioral and physical issues, it's important that our families get a nutritious meal. Worrying about food can also affect someone's emotional health. And so we tie this into social emotional because it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I just, again, want to give a shout out to Carla Leiter because, she's applied for every grant or every program that we can get to give out food boxes or additional food. And you're also going to see on the weekends, that's something that's coming up. We don't have the date that it starts, but on the weekends, they'll get a food kit for the weekend. So that's in planning and implementation. So the next steps in this are we want to, we're continuing to contracted services for special education assessments, and we give you reports of those every week, what they're doing. continuing monitoring English language learner assessments, preparing classrooms for COVID-19 precautions, pending board approval, prepare for marching band's return to campus, pending board approval, prepare for athletic competitions. We're moving forward on the collaboration with the city of Moreno Valley to set up small learning hubs throughout the city. And this is done at locations with Think Together, so that, and I'm really, you know, we're really, the plan isn't completed yet, but it's a joint effort between the city and the school district to provide locations throughout the city so that students can get help with distance learning. We're moving forward on the collaboration, I said that. And then special education small groups are being developed, and we're starting small, as you might imagine. And we're working with Mourinho Elementary, because they have 5 moderate to severe classes there. March Mountain High School and Alessandro, our specialized school, and working to bring those students back in small cohorts to get help with distance learning. And that's part of what's allowed. These are allowed and encouraged. We're focusing on accelerating learning and social emotional learning, providing support to students and families. At our principals meeting last week, we identified students who have learning issues and challenges, and how we can accelerate their performance and help them. We have a communication plan for our new strategic plan. And then at our next board meetings on March 9th and the 13th, we'll update again on where we are with our programs and services provided. On March 16th is a special board meeting for business-related items, and it'll begin at 5 p.m., but the other ones begin at 6 p.m. So that concludes my update and the presentation on this. And are there any questions or anything else I can answer, or something you thought about while I was presenting all this? It's a lot, and we spend a lot of time reviewing this. And I do want to thank Dr. Verdi. He's there. You can wave, Dr. Verdi, so they know who you are. And I want to thank Dr. Arce, because they work with the athletic directors and the principals and the coaches to make sure that these protocols, these procedures, that we're all on the same page. And that's very important, safety. And I do want to say that anytime we've had a situation in our district, like in our athletic conditioning, where there's been a student who's come and they don't feel well or something, the whole cohort is sent home if we identify COVID symptoms, until we clear everybody and make sure everyone's okay. So that's extremely important to follow. So that concludes that presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kidziora. Board members, do you have any comments, questions, or concerns? Anybody before? Because I do have a few things, but
yeah, I do.
Vice President Johnson, yes.
Yeah, Dr. Kidziora, I just want to take some time to thank you for that very comprehensive report that you just gave us. Some great information, some things that I have been wanting to know myself. I haven't been asked by anybody, but I've been asking myself those same questions, and I didn't have any answers. But I really appreciate the way you covered everything that I've thought about tonight. I think that when I meet people now, rather than me wait for someone to ask me, I might just volunteer some information, because I'm quite sure a lot of folks in the city, they have no idea of some of the things that's going on right now and some of the things that we have planned. I do have a question. The deck that you used tonight, I'm just wondering if it would be a good idea to leave 3 or 4 decks at the window downstairs in case someone want to stop by and inquire about it. I'd like to have a copy of that, because I will tell you that that's a wealth of information that you communicated to us tonight, and I know I'm very appreciative of it, and I'm pretty sure that some of our folks in the city who's on TV tonight watching that, I'm sure they would like to get their hands on it so they can remember some of those activities and some of those things that you were talking about tonight. So I'm not saying do that, but if you think that that's a good idea. Then maybe leave 2 or 3 copies for in case somebody want to come by, or perhaps wait until someone requests a copy. But again, thank you so much for that in-depth report. Really appreciate it.
And we can do that, Mr. Johnson, if we can have some down there.
Okay.
I mean, because people come in all the time and it's not a problem.
Yes, great idea. Yep. Thank you, good sir.
Mr. Johnson, Board Member Holguin, do you have any comments?
Yes, thank you for asking. Yes, I want to say thank you, Dr. Getsura, for the great presentation. As always, with a lot of information, a lot of areas that are being covered. I think one of the messages with this presentation for the community is that the district staff in different areas are still working very actively. We saw nutrition services, we saw transportation, we see maintenance, we see, all kinds of different areas. And of course, the teachers working on screens, or some of them working at the sites, administrators, the entire district is still working. Even when some people still think that schools are closed, nothing is happening, there is a lot happening. And this presentation demonstrates that clearly in the different areas. And I think that, I also wanted to thank you for addressing the governor's plan. And I think for some community members, in my opinion, it was important for them to hear that we just did not ignore it. You looked at it and you saw all the different factors that were presented by the governor. A lot of those factors were not, it's like the plan was put in place, but realistically, it cannot be done because of the dates, because of the resources, because of many different factors. It cannot be done as the governor presented the plan. However, many of those areas you had already addressed internally with the district. And I think that's one of the advantages, one of the great things that are behind the local control. You are addressing the challenges based on the local control needs, based on our community, based on our students, our population. So I think that's a great advantage of having that local control. And it's addressing all those areas that the governor is trying to address. So you're keeping an eye on what is needed here. And in one of the slides, I think when Mr. Peter asked, what if somebody doesn't want to wear the mask? And I thought that was an excellent question there. And I think that's important that the community knows that rules are being put in place, and you're following the guidance from the health department and from many different agencies. And all that guidance has to be addressed by the students, observed by the students, by the staff members working there, by all of us. And I think this is when there is a need for a lot of collaboration from the community. Everything is in place for the safety of our students, our staff members, and all of us, the entire community. So their collaboration is critical, is key, so that we continue moving forward to eventually get to the place where we want to be, going back to normal, whatever that normal is going to look down the road. But I think that's why the communication, not just tonight, but your phone calls twice a week, and like Mr. Johnson said, a couple of copies. I don't know if this presentation would be posted on the webpage. I think that would be another area that people could look at the webpage and see all this information, what is happening, what is being observed, what is in place, what is available, resources, et cetera, so that people know. So in summary, thank you, Dr. Getsura, and all the three branches, the 3 divisions, and everybody that works under Maribel Maddox, Susana Lopez, Dr. Verdi. I think it is an amazing work that is happening in the district, and it's just amazing what everybody's doing. So thank you all, and thank you for allowing me to make the comments.
Thank you, Board Member Holguin. Board Member Smith.
Yes, I'll keep my comments brief. I'd just like to thank Dr. Kedzior for this comprehensive presentation, and everyone on the staff who has worked with him on this. Thank you.
And Dr. Locke.
And I'm going to do the same thing, instead of repeating what my colleagues, in agreement with everything that's been said. Like I said, we very seldom have questions, Dr. Kadziora, because you provide us all this information. And again, thank you to you and the staff and all of our phenomenal employees. And again, good report.
Yeah, and thank you, Dr. Locke. I was going to say the same exact thing. I think it just goes back to the amount of effort and time that yourself, Dr. Kadziora, and staff and our cabinet and everybody does to make sure that we have full information about what's going on. And I think your report really does capture that. So thank you so much for that. In addition, I mean, it's clear that, Moreno Valley Unified School District is taking, science and taking the safety of our community and our students, staff, et cetera, very seriously. And so I think Mr. Holguin said it very well as it relates to this is a collaboration. And we all have to be in this together and be willing to do what's necessary to keep our community safe if we want to keep moving forward, especially as it relates to competition and the things that Dr. Kadziora and the staff and the cabinet have put together for us to start itching forward to making sure that our young people can have these opportunities. But it comes down to collaboration. Everybody has to be on board. So great work on that. And again, I have full confidence that's our priority. And so all my questions were answered already. I'd like to take it and just quickly highlight how great it is that we're moving towards full-time counselors for our elementary schools. That's a highlight I think we should note, and all the work that we're putting into social emotional support in this district and how serious we take that, as well as social workers. That's big. So just wanted to highlight that. It's a great job, and thank you for those efforts.
Thank you, board and Mr. Peden. Mr. Peden, I didn't mention this, but I would like to just close by saying that Anna E. Velasco, Stephen Barrett are the public information people, and we sit and they create this for me, with me. And it's based on what you ask. We try to respond to everything that you ask during the week or at any time to make sure that all of you hear it and the public hears it. And so really it's driven by the information you ask from us. So thank you for asking us. And then I want to thank Nancy Vaught and Human Resources and Sandra Ayala, who work with us in COVID-19 responses for employees. They do an excellent job of all working together through human resources, risk management, and public information. And then I'd like to also say, it is everyone. Like you said, there's been more collaboration, more team effort, but MVA, CSCA, and AMVAMP, because they're always talking to Dr. Verdi and he's always talking to me. And, we're, resolving and problem solving and listening. And so it's important that people are giving us information and that we're able to be responsive to it. So thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, and if there's no other comments or questions, we'll proceed on to, see, where are we at? We're on G2A, first reading of board policy administrative regulations, 6174, education for English learners. And Ms. Maddox, Chief Academic Officer, if you can assist us with this item, that would be wonderful.
Thank you, Mr. Peden. The district staff has been working updating this board policy and administrative regulation 6174, which does deal with English learners. This policy is being presented to the board for a first reading. The policy reflects updated language based on CSBA language. Also added Ed Code 52060, which adds LCAP language. Also the state guidelines per CDE with the EL roadmap, and added Title III language for professional development. This board policy has been shared with the associations for their review. I do have a couple of informational items for the board tonight. The CDE is transitioning terminology for EL students to emergent bilinguals. So that's the new terminology that we're going to be transitioning to. And also the CDE has renamed the English Learner Support Division to the Multilingual Support Division. And those are informational items for you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maddox. We do appreciate that report. Board members, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns on this first reading of this policy? Okay, seeing none, I would like to just add that it's great to see that we're working on these board policies and getting through these. So we do appreciate that work, Ms. Maddox.
Thank you.
All right, let me make sure I get my place here. Okay, moving on to action item H1A, recommendation to approve the modified phase 1 marching band conditioning. Dr. Kidziora, if you can assist us with this item.
This is referring to what I just reviewed, Mr. Peden, in the PowerPoint. And this is so that marching band, with the safety protocols and the processes in place that we've discussed, begins March 1st.
Thank you very much. Board members, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, this would be the time. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the modified phase 1 marching band conditioning as presented.
I make a motion to approve the modified phase 1 marching band conditioning as presented.
Okay, that's a motion. Okay, second by Ms. Smith. Board Member Smith, roll call, please.
Smith? Aye.
Dr. Locke?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Aye. Vote carries. On to H1B, recommendation to approve athletic activities, events, and competitions. Dr. Kidziora, if you can give us a quick summary. I understand that this was in your presentation, but if there's anything else you would like to add.
Just to reinforce that the competitions are between 2 teams, and it's to be the smallest they can be and to follow the guidelines and the protocols so that the safety practices are reinforced by the administration, the coaches, the athletic directors.
Thank you, Dr. Kidziora. And board members, if there's any comments, questions, or concerns, this would be the time. Okay, seeing none, I would just like to add that thank you for all that information that you provided in your slide and really presenting that our priority is the safety of our community. And that is certainly being captured in this forward motion that we're moving in terms of athletic activities, events, and competitions. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the athletic activities, events, and competitions as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Vice President Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Board Member Holguin. Roll call, please. Claudia, I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
Smith? Aye.
Dr. Locke?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Peden?
Aye. Vote carries. Thank you very much. Moving on to H2, business service action items, audit report. And if Ms. Lopez, Chief Business Official, if you can help assist us with this item, that'd be great.
Having like a sound issue.
Yeah, we're not.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Peden. Per Education Code Section 41020.3, the governing board of each local education agency shall review at a public meeting the annual audit of the LEA for the prior year. The deadline is January 31st, but for fiscal year 1920, the deadline was extended to March 31st, 2021. This evening, we have Andrew Park, a partner with our auditing firm, Eide Bailly, who has completed the 2019-20 annual audit report, and he will be here to give a brief presentation.
Good evening, everybody. It's a bit late, but Happy New Year. Let's start. Well, we did wrap up the audit season in one piece, but I have to tell you, it's been rather a unique year. We've conducted our audit 100% remotely, with the exception of some work at the beginning of the year before the closure. But I have to say it's been rather tough, inefficient, and just a lot of burden placed on your management. So I'd like to kind of begin by thanking your management, just to give you some statistics in terms of how much document exchanged hands. We basically used an electronic portal where your management basically uploaded all the audit document to us. And I just took a glance at it to see how many documents were uploaded. The district uploaded 534 documents over the course of time. And I'm not talking about single page documents. We're talking about multiple pages and it was done 534 times. On top of that, I also want to mention that this is not including the emails that went back and forth, exchanging files and communication and whatnot. So I would really like to extend my appreciation to the district, especially the business services department that coordinated all of this for us and to make it happen. So, I mean, it went pretty smoothly for a large district like this. So let's cover the results of the audit. Ms. Lopez, do we have a copy of the audit report that we could put up?
Everybody has a copy of the audit report, Andrew.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to try to make this in the highest summary level. So when the board gets the audit report, it's usually a thick report, and then you're kind of wondering, well, where do we even start? Now, audit report is actually a very technical document, and really there's no expectation for all of the board members to go through and understand all the pages or the information in there. You almost have to be a CPA or a school business finance person to truly understand the contents of the audit report. As far as the responsibility of the board is concerned, I think the best way to kind of figure out how the audit went is to refer to what we would call the summary of auditors' results. And that's going to be on page 110 of the audit report. In essence, what that page does is basically it emphasizes 3 key areas that we audit and describe how the audit went. So I'm sure you're looking at it in front of you, but before I get into the results of the audit, let's just kind of talk about what the auditors do. First of all, auditors are technically agents of the board. We work for the board, and if you put it into a school district context, we're basically the report cards of your district's management in terms of how they did for the 1920 fiscal year. Now, as far as what we do, we render an opinion on a set of financial statements. Now, if you recall, back in September of 2020, you received and approved a document called the Unaudited Actuals for the 1920. That document is basically unaudited until I come in and basically audit the information and report back to you and letting you know how the audit went. As far as how we report the audit, we do it in a form of an opinion. The highest level of assurance or an opinion that we provide is an unmodified opinion. I'm sorry, we're going to use some technical language here. Followed by a qualified opinion, and lastly, an adverse or a disclaimer of an opinion. So again, unmodified is basically synonymous with a clean opinion, okay? So now that we have some general information as far as some of these technical lingos are concerned, let's kind of go through the results. On page 110 of the audit report, you're gonna see 3 headers that are bold-faced. First is the financial statements, followed by federal awards, and lastly, state awards. Okay, so I'll begin with the financial statements. With respect to the financial statements, as of June 30, 2020, covering July 1st through June 30, 2020, our opinion was unmodified as it relates to the financial statements. Okay, that's a clean opinion. We are in agreement. Under the government auditing standards, we are required to basically assess the checks and balances, or what we would call internal controls that have been implemented by your management to ensure accurate reporting of your financial statements. And I would say 70% of our time as it relates to the financial statement audit is spent there understanding, testing the process. In essence, we're basically trying to answer if a dollar gets processed within your financial statement framework, or your financial transactions, does that dollar get reported as a dollar on the financial statements? That's the overly simplified explanation of what we're trying to do. So we're looking at checks and balances in the background to make sure it's processing as it's intended to do, okay? So based on our evaluation of your checks and balances and internal controls, we did identify a deficiency related to your self-insurance that will be in the accompanying pages following this, immediately following this page, okay? And if you have any questions, we could address that, but I'm sure you've had an opportunity to look over the finding. Now moving on to federal awards. Oh. Moving on to the federal awards. Basically, if a non-federal entity receives $750,000 or more and spends $750,000 or more, you are subject to what's called the Single Audit Act. Page 110, please, if you're gonna put it up there. Right there. Okay, there we go. So to continue on, so if a non-federal entity expends more than $750,000 in federal grant and assistance, you are subject to what's called a Single Audit Act. Basically what that is it's a regulation that was enacted by the federal government that basically states that, well, if you spend $750,000 or more, we want the independent auditors to audit you guys and report back to us in terms of what the compliance, how the non-federal entity is doing, in this case, being a school district. So during the 1920 fiscal year, we were required to audit your Title I Part A, which is federal funds designated to provide assistance for low-income students. And then secondly, we were also required to test your special education cluster or federal funds designated to supplement your special education program. Based on the testing that we performed on compliance, our opinion was unmodified. Again, highest level of assurance as far as compliance is concerned. We also did not identify any type of control deficiencies or problems with your checks and balances that have been implemented and are in place to ensure compliance with both of these programs. So in other words, it was a clean opinion. Lastly, on state compliance. So annually, the state controller's office, working with various interest groups, they basically come up with a series of audit areas that they want independent auditors like myself to kind of review and test. Now, if you want to get a full understanding of the list of programs that we audit, it will be on page 108. Ms. Lopez, if you could just kind of scroll to 108, please. Okay. So this is a current comprehensive list as of 1920 as it relates to what programs the State Controller's Office and California Department of Education wants independent auditors to audit. So as you can see on this page, you're going to see a lot of yes notations and some no notations. Yes notations mean that you either had the program, implemented the program, or received financial assistance, whereas no means that you did not have the program or did not operate the program, or you did not receive financial assistance, and as a result, it was not applicable to the district. So based on the audit procedures performed on all the yes notated programs, our opinion was unmodified as it relates to the district's compliance with some of these or most of these state compliance requirements. So to sum it up, that is the results of the audit itself. Do you have any questions in any of these areas or any other particular questions within the context of the audit report?
Okay. I don't have any questions, board. Is there any other questions, comments, or anything?
I don't have any.
I just want to, if there's no questions, I just want to briefly touch upon.
Mr. Park, I think Board Member Holguin does have a question.
Yeah, I just, okay, so you said there was a, did you say one deficiency?
Yes.
So can you explain a little more on that one deficiency?
So the deficiency has to do with the accounting of your insurance program. The district self-insures property and liability and workers' comp. Well, no longer, but workers' comp, the way that works is it drags on for more than, it could drag on for more than 20, 30 years. And basically the district is no longer self-insuring at the moment, but you have some liability that's lingering in the past years, right? So just like pension and your post-employment retirement program, you have to hire an actuary to update what the projected liability is. And based on our assessment of, I don't know what exactly took place, but that actuarial evaluation or the estimate isn't up to date. And as a result, the number was a bit skewed. And once we got the actuarial estimate that are more current, we noticed that the liability projected and reported on the financial statement was off. Hence, that's the real result. And that's the nature of the finding that we reported. And again, it has to do with estimates and the estimate being outdated and the financial statements not presenting where it should be.
So this is not a, of course it's a deficiency, but it's not a major deficiency that is going to affect the result of the audit.
When it comes to, okay, so we had to post an adjustment to correct the financial statements, right? So if the adjustment is large enough in scale, we automatically define that as a material adjustment. And whenever there is a material adjustment, there is a presumption that there was a failure or a deficiency within the district's control mechanism, right? And as a result, we are required to report that as a material weakness. Now, does it impact your operation in any manner? No, it doesn't, because it's really a projected liability and a pure accounting estimate. So it has no bearing on your operation. Just purely from a financial statement presentation standpoint. But again, our focus primarily is on the financial statement presentation as of June 30th, 2020. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for me before I kind of touch upon one more topic?
Seeing none, please.
Okay, so at the back of the audit report, this is what all the board members should be familiar with. These are comments related to your associated student body at each of the sites. Just to kind of give you some context as far as how we visit each of these sites. We basically follow the state controller sampling guideline. What the state controller says is basically we have to audit 20% of your sites, okay? And based on our sampling, we go to these sites and evaluate mainly your attendance, and then following the attendance, we look at specifically middle and high schools ASP operation because there's some risk associated with it. Now, you're probably wondering, why aren't these findings, or I call them observations, why aren't these reported as part of the main audit and addressed as a separate letter to management? Well, these are basically issues that we've identified, but then they're not significant enough to escalate to something that we need to report to the board. These are really just FYI issues to your district's management, primarily your business services, to let your business services know that there are issues out there, and if these don't get addressed, there's a likelihood that they might be escalated to a larger issue that the district does not want to deal with. So these are just FYI comments for the most part. Okay. That pretty much sums up my presentation of the audit. Do you have any other questions for me that I could address?
Don't have any board members? Board member Holguin?
Yeah, no, I don't have a question, but I just want to say that I'm a little bit familiar with the audit process, being at the county, working at the county office, and seeing all the process that the districts go through, and then seeing this audit report with that one deficiency, which was corrected already. I mean, no need to wait until next year for it to be corrected. So it was corrected already. I think this is, and I looked at your opinion on page 5 of the audit report, right? That's where your opinion is, way at the beginning. I think this is a pretty good audit report. And to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but this shows that the district or the business office is keeping good controls, good internal controls, good practices, and it's getting to the point of completing the audit report, your piece is one piece, your work is one piece, but the work at the business office is another piece. And this is not done because you came in, now we have to work on this. It's an ongoing work day after day after day throughout the entire year. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So for you to come and say that this is a clean report, I think this is an amazing work in the business department. So I just wanted to commend the business office and thank you for explaining what you just explained and for inspecting whatever you had to inspect and finding something that was easily correctable. And so, I think this is an excellent work on the part of the business department. So I commend Susana Lopez and the entire team for that. Thank you.
Hey, Board Member Holguin, Mr. Park, does that wrap up your?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay, thank you. I do have one question to Dr. Kizziora and Ms. Lopez as it relates just to the recommendations that are on the audit report. Would you like to elaborate on the recommendations and how we plan to move forward, et cetera?
Yes, I will. Thank you. In regards to the finding, as you can see, that was corrected and we have calendared that so that those actuarial reports are requested on a timely basis. In regards to the observations that were listed, we're going to focus on those two schools and communicating first with the site administrator and then bringing in the teams of the folks that are involved with the ASB process and working with our staff so that we can address it, but also taking the opportunity to provide some trainings for all of the school sites. As Andrew Park mentioned, every year they come in and sample, but we want to ensure that we have training across the board. And also know that we do internal audits. So we do have an accountant that is assigned and oversees the ASB. And so we'll continue to review our process and procedures and see where we can improve to ensure that we address everything with all school sites, not just those that are selected for the audit.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. And Dr. Kizziora, do you have anything to add? Or?
Mr. Pete, Susana Lopez has reviewed all this with me, and I concur with the recommendations and moving forward and following up with the principals and the ASB directors.
Thank you, sir. Board members, is there any other questions, comments, or concerns before we entertain a motion to approve the audit report?
I was just going to, mention, she said about, working with all the schools because ASB is, it's always a challenge for, all districts, so. But thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, seeing no more questions or comments, I will entertain a motion to approve the audit report as presented. Is there a motion? Moved by Board Member Holguin. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Board Member Smith. Roll call, please.
Aye.
Thank you. Dr. Locke?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Moving on to H2B, bond audit report. Ms. Lopez, if you can assist us with this.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Peden. With the passage of Measure M and the issuance of bonds, it requires school districts to conduct an annual financial and performance audits for the bond proceeds and for the bond expenditures. This evening, again, we're going to have Andrew Park go over the Measure M audit report, and also know that this will be shared with the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, as is required with in accordance with Government Code Section 15278. Andrew.
Okay, so I'll take it away again. So Measure M bond performance audit is basically a two-part audit. First half of the audit specifically talks about, or we address the financial aspect of your Measure M funds. Now, as you know, Measure M funds are housed in the building fund of the school district, right? So in essence, what we're doing here as far as the financial audit is concerned is a scaled down audit, because now when we're comparing district as a whole and comparing it to just the Measure M funds are going to be a lot less. So the way we conduct our audit is a scaled down audit, and we basically perform the same procedures from a financial statement auditing perspective, and we basically render an opinion very similar to, or exactly the same as a school district. So I'm not going to touch touch upon a lot of the areas within the financial statement audit itself, but I will let you know that our opinion was unmodified as it relates to the financials as of June 30, 2020. I think what everybody wants to know is the performance aspect of it, which is second half of the audit report, okay? So second half of the audit report basically follows what we would call the yellow book requirements. These are the government auditing standards, which kind of dictate how performance audits are performed by independent auditors. During the 1920 fiscal year, federal government basically changed some of the regulations or guidance, and they wanted us to provide a little more clarity in terms of how we conduct these audits. And if you compare current year's audit to 1819's audit, the language kind of changed as well. Specifically, when we go through the audit report, Ms. Lopez, can we put something up for the audit report? Do we have a copy? Probably easier to.
We're trying to get it on.
Oh, okay. Can we go to page PDF page 23? There you go. Under methodology. Scroll down a little bit there. Okay, there we go. So basically, in order to assist in the clarity of what the performance audit was intended to do, the feds basically said, let's change some of these terminologies and let's describe in more detail in terms of what the performance audit entails. Methodology is basically our procedures performed in order to conduct the performance audit. So within this section, we talk about how we sample, what we sample, right? And how that was comprehensive, okay? So just to give you an idea in terms of what we sampled, we basically looked at, when sampling, we have to consider a population. Our population in this case was all transactions that are housed within the district's general ledger under the building fund, which pertains to Measure M funds, okay? And from that entire population, we know that that population is complete. So as a result, we would begin sampling, but we kind of stratified our sample, okay? So basically, any expenditures that exceed 2% of the total expenditures that are housed in that fund, we basically selected as a sample. Beyond the 2%, once we completely selected all expenditures above 2% of the total expenditures. So, you know, to put it into context, if you had $1,000 in bond expenditures, we're going to have a lot more zeros. We basically looked at all transactions that are 200 and above. Okay. So on top of that, once we're done, we basically said, okay, that's one stratification. And then on top of that, we looked at the remaining population. As far as the remaining population is concerned, we basically through and we haphazardly selected the transactions on a sample basis, right? And again, we noted basically the way we sample is under the contractual agreement, we look at a sample from each of the outstanding projects that are taking place that are authorized by Measure M, right? And then as we scan, if we see any type of unusual description as far as the general ledger description is concerned, we would pull those and look at the backup. And that's basically what we're describing in number 2. Okay, number 2 is we looked at a comprehensive population of all transactions. From there, we implemented a methodology to sample in terms of how we test, right? Now, just to let you know, the principle behind auditing is based on a statistical sample. Auditors will not look at 100% sample because, I mean, in the long run, right, as long as we randomly sample within a pool of transactions, we would get the same results statistically. And that's really the approach from any type of mathematics, including audit, right, that we would get the same results. Based on the sampling that we performed, our sample population resulted in $4.1 million worth of transactions, right? So how do we go about testing this? Basically, once we select our samples, we go to, you know, Ms. Lopez and say, these are the transactions that we selected. Can you please provide backup? for these transactions. Once we look at the backup, our responsibility to the board is basically, we look at the backup to make sure that the district has spent the Measure M proceeds in accordance to what the voters have approved in the past, right? So do the expenditures align with the approved ballot measure projects? Okay, that's ultimately the question that we're trying to answer from a compliance standpoint. What else are we looking for? Did the district spend these money for administrative salaries or classroom teacher salaries? Okay, and I could tell you right now, the way that the ledger is set up, right? The district does not house these funds, and it's almost impossible to spend these monies on administrative salaries, because we'll see it very clearly as a transfer or a direct charge to the program. There's no way that the district could charge any other way, because I mean, we'll see it very clearly, because the money, again, is not housed at the district level, it's at the county treasury level, and county treasury will post all the transactions, okay? So based on that methodology used to evaluate the expenditures and to test them, we did not identify any type of exception that I have to report to the board. So based on the sampling, there were no exceptions to report to the board. The district is basically effectively spending the bond proceeds in accordance to what the voters have approved. Okay, and that's really my result to the board as far as the 1920 audit for Measure M is concerned. Any questions for me?
I don't have any questions, board. I would just like to say I'm sure that our community would be really happy to hear what you just mentioned, that where these dollars are being spent exactly how they wish them to be spent when they approved Measure M. So thank you for your work there. Board members, do you have any other comments or questions? Ms. Board Member Holguin?
Go ahead. You said Holguin. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you, Mr. Johnson.
No, that's okay. You mentioned the community. And I too want to thank the community, because Mr. Holguin was here, and Dr. Ketcher, of course. When we first presented that Measure M to folks, Dr. White was here, and we got together and we had a strategy. We went and talked to people and stuff like things like that. And tonight I'd like to just thank the community for trusting us, because we told them we wanted the money for one thing, but that fell through and we used it for something else. We had a few people that said a few things, but by and large, the community went along with the board. So that let me know that they had that much confidence in the superintendent's office as well as the board. So for those that's watching, live in this community, thank you for your trust in us. Just know that we're doing exactly what we said we're going to do. Use it wisely. That's all. Mr. Holguin.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, and thank you to the community for approving that bond. And Mr. Park, I just want to clarify something you said earlier. You said earlier that you work for the district. I just want to clarify, you represent an independent audit firm. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Yes, and I think that is important because like Mr. Peden said, the community needs to know that the monies are being spent where they were promised to be spent. And that is why you are here, so to validate that through the audit report. So so thank you for coming and doing that, and for explaining what you just explained. The last thing that I want to say is that you mentioned too at the beginning that you did all this audit virtually, right? Through, I don't know, emails or whatever the case was with the business department. And I think that the audit itself is already a challenge, right? And doing it virtually is a double challenge, in my opinion. So again, thank you. Thank you for doing what you're doing with your expertise and explaining and digging into what you had to dig. And thank you to the business department for doing what is to be done in both the audit report for Measure M and the audit report for the district. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, questions from the board? Okay, seeing none, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the bond audit report as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I believe was that motion, Mr. Holguin? Okay, and a second by Dr. Locke. Roll call, please.
Aye.
Thank you. Dr. Locke?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Aye. Vote carries. All right, now moving on to item I, future agenda topics. Is there any board members who will have the time to discuss any potential future board meeting agenda topics at this time? Board members? Are there any items that you have in mind that you'd like to see on a future agenda?
Not right now.
All right, seeing none, we'll move forward if that's the will of the board. Okay, looks like all of our questions are being answered. That's a good thing. Okay, good job. Okay, now let's move over to item J, comments from the board members and superintendent.
All right, I guess I'm up first. So I'd like to say that I was glad that we could authorize the conditioning for athletics and for marching band. I think it's really important when they first went back to do some conditioning last fall. I was at a couple of the campuses and I saw how happy the students were to see each other and be together for the first time in so many months. So I'm glad that they're going to have that opportunity again. I know that parents and students and the board and the staff are anxious for things to be back to normal. Even though they can't be that way right now, the day that they can, people will be so thrilled to be able to be back there together again. Also, we hired, new jobs for 3 of our employees today, Mr. Black, Mrs. Dumas, and Mr. Robertson. Our district has done such a great job, and I know a lot of this is due to Dr. Kedziora, of preparing people to be promoted from within. This is something that I have always been in favor of. People should not have to go outside of our district to make progress in their careers. We should be able to find the people that we need from within our district, and I'm happy that we were able to do that tonight. Also, I've been to several events in the last couple of weeks. The STEAM Unity Conference, which was via Zoom, the Spelling Bee Awards. Congratulations to Sophie Gonzalez, 2nd place from Sunnymead Middle School, and Sweta Jaya Singh from 7th grade from Palm Middle School, who was our 1st place winner. Also, we had the Black History drive-through celebration of Vista del Lago. It's amazing how we can continue to move forward with all of our events despite the current circumstances and the health crisis that we're in. Even though we can't meet together, we're still providing many opportunities and many celebrations for our community and our staff. So thank you to Dr. Kedziora and all the staff who make all of these events possible. Thank you.
I guess I'm next, and I agree with everything Mrs. Smith said, and just like to add to, like we said, we don't usually have a lot of questions when Dr. Kedziora gives us the updates because they're so thorough. He basically answers our questions before we even ask them. Great audit reports. It makes you very proud of the district. It's very evident as you drive through Moreno Valley how Measure M, money is being spent. I want to acknowledge and thank you, Dr. Kedziora and your staff for focusing on not just students' academics, but also the mental health and social emotional. And, I think was mentioned earlier, Mr. Peden, is I'm thrilled to hear about, the work towards getting, a counselor at every elementary school. They are so much needed, because it's the idea that I just think it's amazing, Dr. Kedziora, what you and your, the cabinet and all of our employees are able to do, to keep things going on, from the idea of the Wi-Fi in the buses, the focus on nutrition, social, emotional, keeping our whole community, amazed with, how much information is given to our community and how the hours are, because not all districts do that. We work to, connect with our parents, and serve them with the Chromebooks. If they break, they can get them fixed. They don't have to wait. Again, thank you for, everyone for what they do. And congratulations to our 3 employees, with their promotions. I'm done.
Thank you. I don't want to repeat some of the things that Ms. Smith and Dr. Locke said, so I'm going to mention a couple other things, because I already said my thank yous earlier, but I want to say to my colleagues, thank you for adopting those 3 resolutions tonight, recognizing Black History Month, recognizing a National School Breakfast Week, and also recognizing career technical education. I think those are critical, those are important, and I truly appreciate that vote. And I also want to say, I'm a little bit behind in time here, but last week we celebrated the week of the counselor, National Counselor Week. And I think that, I just wanted to mention this, that the work that our counselors do in our district is amazing. I think it goes hand in hand with the social emotional areas that Dr. Locke was mentioning, and some of you did too. But I think the work that they do on a daily basis, anytime, whenever they are approached, whenever they are needed, they're there, and they're excellent people, excellent professionals, and the work that they do is just amazing. So I wanted to say again, I hope they had a great week. Last week, it was their week, but I think that is something that we need to recognize all the time, because the counselors are just essential, and they do an amazing job, and not only within our district, but all the counselors. And along with that, I like to also recognize those frontline workers that have done a lot in this time, very difficult time, some of them within our district, a lot of them outside the district, but the ones that are responding to the needs of the community, those that are getting sick, affected by this COVID-19, and those that are risking their own lives for helping others that are in tremendous need at this point in time. So I want to recognize, I know Mr. Johnson can mention some of these. I was happy to see that 7,500 of them were invited to the Super Bowl and were able to go to the stadium, but that's a different topic. I leave that for Mr. Johnson. But just the recognition of the frontline workers, because thanks to them, a lot of people are recovering, and they have done an amazing job. So I wanted to recognize that. And the last item that I want to mention is, since I'm in the recognition area, I want to recognize somebody. Again, I'm a little behind in time, but I want to recognize somebody who, in my opinion, deserves a lot of recognition for everything that has happened in our district. I want to say for the last 10 years, and maybe I'll be a little bit off, but especially for the last 4 years, and that is our superintendent, Dr. Katsura, who just completed her 4th year as superintendent. I think he deserves a lot of recognition because he has kept the team together, and it is a huge team. And I know he's going to say that it's not only him, and I recognize that. There's also over 3,000 employees. There are 3 employee groups, and there's a board of education, and there's an entire community, and there are 32,000 students. So it's a collaboration, everybody working together. But with him being in that position, I think things have been moving forward for the last 4 years in a very, very positive manner, in a very effective manner. So I want to say thank you, Dr. Katsura, and I was lucky and glad and honored to be there when you came in to the district, and then when you became the superintendent. So I think we owe you a lot of the progress that is happening in the school district. So I wanted to recognize you publicly, say thank you, and congratulations for completing 4 years. And also thank my colleagues for supporting Dr. Katsura because the work that he has been doing, and the collaboration, not only within the district, but all other agencies and a lot of community organizations and faith-based organizations and many different organizations throughout the community, throughout the county, throughout the state, is just remarkable. So thank you for being with us. And and congratulations. And I hope we can still, I'm sure that we can still continue working together. So thank you so much.
Okay, I guess I'm up. I was going to, since I'm sure most of us know that this is Martin Luther King's time, and I already had a script already ready to read that I had taken some excerpts from his last sermon at his church, but I'm going to put that in the bins until next week for sure. Because I do want to remind us of that last sermon. So I too want to thank Dr. Ketzior and his staff. You can't thank folks enough. You know, I think the last time we had a meeting, you know, you guys heard me say that you know, I have nothing to do at home basically. So occasionally I'll just drive out to the district just to see who's still there. And 9 times out of 10, I'll see his car there. And of course, I made mention of that, I think at our last meeting, but I do want to make sure that I thank him and his entire staff and all of those folks that work in the district and around the district. To them, it's just like any other day. They are energetic, and they're very conscientious, and they always want to do a great job. And I think it all comes from the leadership, because when people work for folks who care about them and show that they care about them, they're apt to do the very best job that they can possibly do. And then when people work in groups, and I've seen this, if one guy stands out, his comrades are going to do the same thing. They're not going to just like lag along just because. If one guy stands out, everybody's going to be doing their best. And so, again, I just want to make sure that I say thank you to all of them. Also, since I'm thanking folks, I want to thank our parents. You know, we heard the young lady tonight, and my heart bleeds for her. And I heard her. She wants schools to start, and I want school to start. I mean, I want things to get back to normal again. I'm wondering when that's going to happen. I just found out yesterday that one of my friends from my hometown where I was stationed with overseas played football. I don't even know why he was in the military in the first place. That boy was so good. He could have been a pro, but he just passed away. Talked with his wife, and of course, we all know what happened. So those things are happening in real life with a lot of folks that we know and a lot of folks that are kin to us. So as we go about our day, just remember to hold them up in our prayers, or just think about them and think about the families. Those things happen so quickly. I mean, they don't even have time to adjust to anything. The loved ones are gone just that quick. And Dr. Ketziora, Coach's wife, last Sunday told me to tell you that Coach is no longer here either. No, I'm done.
Thank you, Vice President Johnson. I mean, you all know I'm probably the first person to criticize, right? Or be critical. But I do think that, you know, there is a place and a time for acknowledgement. And I think this would be it, right? So we need to acknowledge our staff, teachers, cabinet, Dr. K, our students, our parents. And I think what goes on in this district is very telling by the constant desire and willingness and to serve our community. And I think we saw that on this last Thursday when at the Black History Month event. I've been trying not to attend so many things, you know, and that sort of thing, but I was so happy that I decided to go to that event because it reminded me what we do here in the district. And no matter what we're facing, we know there's a need, and we're willing to step up there and serve our community. We're much more than just traditional school district. We really focus on our community and our students and our parents and bringing community together. So I just wanted to acknowledge all the work that you all do, because I know that's always in the front of your minds as you work every day. And so that's important to all of us, and especially our community. So I'll just leave it at that. Dr. Kiddiora?
So I just want to, can you hear me? Okay. I just want to say thank you to the board for those very nice comments. And I'm grateful and appreciate your words. I do want to say I want to thank our cabinet, because, they don't have easy jobs, and I make sure that they know that I know they're here. And I mean, like if I don't see Dr. Verdi, I'll call him and say, "Are you here?" I go, "Yeah, I was up there. You were in a meeting, But I just want you to know that, they are very responsive and very supportive to the many needs of our community and all of their departments and things they oversee. Tonight, I want to close by saying that really just ask people to remember that Black History Month is a time to celebrate, reflect, and be inspired to action. This month, we talk about all kinds of different people and heroes, but and the list is long, but John Lewis, Elijah Cummings, Shirley Chisholm, Marsha Johnson, Martin Luther King Jr., who's mentioned many times. But there's so many others that came before us and made our world a better place for us all. And their courage and activism serve as a call to each and every one of us this month, and every month, not just this month, to fight for the promise of equality on which our nation was founded. And so I just want to ask the students in the community to follow in the footsteps we celebrate these heroes this month by educating yourselves, learning more about what you don't know, listening to others, listening to their stories, and more. There's lots of actions that you can take, including, signing petitions, joining racial justice organizations, and attending virtual book clubs. And that, I just hope you'll continue to persevere and support people. And in addition to that, the Chinese New Year is Friday, and I know there are people that celebrate and participate. And then Valentine's Day is this weekend. And that's a day where you can be kind to someone. You can be kinder than you need to be. Some people expect things on that day. Some people, it's a very special day. I remember, kids in schools, exchanging Valentines and getting them. But I just want to say that, use that time to be kinder than you've ever been, because there's a lot of people that really, appreciate the phone calls, the checking on them. And, and I tell people all the time, call people, don't send an email, let them hear your voice. And today I was talking to a parent, and she said, I just really appreciate, that you called me. And I said, I appreciate that you took my call and that we get to talk about this. So thank you all for listening, and thank you all for being kind to one another. And thank you, Mr. Peden.
Dr. Kiddiora. And if the board wouldn't mind, I think it would be appropriate to close out and adjourn our meeting in remembrance of Councilwoman Dr. Carla Thornton, who we lost too soon. Our prayers and thoughts are with her and her family. And if we could just take a moment of silence, and then we'll proceed with adjourning our meeting. All right. With no further business to come before the Board of Education, the meeting is adjourned at 9:19 p.m. Thank you.
Good meeting. Very good.